This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. Time being 4:45, I'd like to call the meeting of May 16th, 2024 to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'd like to make a motion to accept a donation of $40 from Sandy and Brian LeBlanc for the senior center.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sandy and Brian. And now we have the minutes, and they are very long. Just a grammatical error on page 8 of 11 under Morrison Avenue. It's about middle of the paragraph. They, under the word suggested, they do not put a wearing course. It's C-O-A-R, not C-O-U-R.
I have here on page 5, bottom paragraph, middle set way down in that paragraph on the right-hand side, it says, there is also a Department of Health and Human Services that provides a liaison. I think if we just change A for the, it would sound better, make more sense. And on page 8, just above Morrison Avenue discussion, it says Civil War Monument, P. Branscombe, TA, contacted Mike Tardy of Superior Fence, and he gave Selectman Dawson quotes. The town administrator at the time didn't have anything to do with me getting quotes from Superior Fence.
Right.
I
So
just,
it
quite
should
frankly,
say,
I got tired of waiting for the quotes, so I called them on my own because I know Mike. But I'm not sure why that's there.
all right, so it really should read that Selectman Dawson contacted Mike Tardy of Superior Fence.
I'm not sure why it's even there.
You want to just eliminate the whole thing?
Yeah, didn't we have a discussion about the quotes?
Mhm.
So, I mean,
So eliminate that paragraph?
we got the quotes, doesn't matter who got them, we got them finally.
Okay.
Just my thoughts. On page 9,
Okay.
Selectmen's reports, Selectman Dawson at the very end. Selectman Constantino agrees with the chain link option if the park commission is in agreement. By not putting in any of the conversation that followed that, it leaves it hanging, because then we go ahead and vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember it verbatim, but I do remember saying that I sent them the quote, they gave their opinions, and it was kind of 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
On page 10 of 10, this might have been my mistake when I spoke, but we're under Selectman Ruggles. It says the voting body did approve it in the spring of 2022. That should be corrected to 2023. So that might have been my misstep when I spoke.
Okay. Under Selectman Constantino, 10 of 11, under third sentence, town clerk, tax collector, there's an extra 4 there. Wasn't it at this time the discussion, and I point this out because wasn't it at this time that we asked the town administrator to reach out to Laconia Road, to the owner of the Philbrook, to see,
Yes, we did.
shouldn't that be in the,
We asked if he was amenable to us
right,
taking over maintenance.
shouldn't that be in here in the minutes?
Should be in the minutes. That's kind of important.
Did we vote on that?
No, it was just,
Well, it was
just
a discussion.
suggestion. Yeah, it was a
Just
discussion.
talk, yep.
All right. So what you're saying is because we didn't vote on it, it shouldn't be in the minutes?
We asked, and he said yes, he would. I mean, we didn't vote on it, but Nobody
I'm
dis-
totally not in favor of that. Because if you do it for one person, you have to do it for everybody.
well, this was just to reach out to see if there was a possibility not to do it. I think we had that conversation, didn't we?
Yeah,
Maybe,
we did.
but I just want to reiterate, I'm not in favor of that. There's too many privately owned cemeteries of 1 and 2.
We did have this
5.
conversation because I said how
Right.
we took possession of the one that's on our property.
Correct.
It's deeded to us.
Right. We
So
did
we
have this
maintain it.
conversation.
We did have that conversation, okay.
Right.
Oh, good, I'm not getting C now.
All right, so where are we leaving that? Just no,
Well,
not to add it to the minutes?
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. I just wanted to firm up the fact that we didn't vote on it. That's
I think we should contact them to see if it's a possibility. Then we can go from there,
Okay.
because we keep bringing it up.
Mhm.
And there are people out there that have asked.
Should be in the minutes that we brought it up,
Mhm.
but no.
Okay. Any more concerns, corrections? That's very long minutes. All right, we send these back for corrections. So next on our list is, we have quite a few things on our agenda, and they are all the interim town administrator show. So I'm just going to ask him to speak, because this is all about the Tim show tonight, except the selectmen's reports. So we have quite an extensive agenda, and hopefully we're going to make some progress. Go ahead, Tim.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for the confidence you all have shown in me to be the interim, to shepherd you until you get a town administrator in here. And I just hope your patience extends the length of your confidence as I work through things and discover where things are. And for one, I was unaware of the cemetery request. So in any event, in my report to you, I have a number of general things that need to be discussed. You'll see that in your to be signed folder, there are a number of things, two of which are personal action reports for employees that had resigned recently. Those need to be signed. And then also I'd like permission, that's A, on my report. And then I'd like permission to repost those two positions. So that is one in DPW for truck driver laborer, and the other is land use technician. Is that?
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes, but can we contact Public Works Director just to make sure that that's,
He does want
That's
to
the
go through the
position.
process. Yes.
nothing's changed?
Yep. Yep.
Good, thank you.
Is that a board consensus?
I'm a yes. Board consensus, everybody? Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. All right. And then item B is related to a fellowship grant from Colby Sawyer College. There's a grant of $48,000 to hire an intern for the police department. And this is for a year period. And the board had approved as long as it didn't cost the town any money. And I've worked with the chief and developed the plan as to how that would work so that we won't be out any money at all for those, for the salary and taxes and retirement contributed for that employee during that year period. So the agreement is in your to be signed folder. And the chief, while he's on vacation the end of this week, he is most anxious to get that signed so that the young lady can start on the 27th. Okay, that's B. In addition, you'll see there's a letter in the to be signed folder regarding the veterans home expansion and the signage on Colby and Clark at that intersection. And there's a map there that accompanies the letter. And this is a letter to DOT just expressing the board's agreement with their plan.
But we
So
didn't agree to it.
please.
didn't agree to it, though.
Well, so my understanding was the board had, but we'll just hold that out. But please take a look at the map and how they've shown the location of the signs. So it's in that to be signed folder.
We'll have to take some time tonight to discuss that.
Please do. In addition, also in your to be signed folder is the Turner Group scope and fee. And I would like some direction as to how you would like to proceed and understand if there's something holding up the board at this point from approving that and getting started with Turner. The money would come from the capital reserve fund for the island to pay for it.
Have you looked at it?
Other than I have skimmed it, I haven't read it, and I've read through the notes and other things, but it's really a matter of whether you have confidence in them to get this project started. But there needs to, pretty soon, we're going to lose out on summer activities, I think, if we don't take some action here soon. My understanding was that they had reduced their agreement from roughly 118,000 to the amount that's in the contract now, and that they've done everything that they could do to make it more affordable for the town. And they also had not charged the town when they were assisting when Administrator Forrester was working on plans initially when it was determined that it was unsafe. So anyway, that's in your to be signed folder. But more than anything, I'd like to understand if there's something that is holding up the board or you need more information. I'm more than happy to hunt it down and get what you need, or if you need another meeting with them, whatever it may be.
Make a motion that we sign the agreement.
Second.
Yes.
You seconded it, right? And thank you. Discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Great.
Well, I wanted part of the discussion. I just, my take is that I think the first thing that we would want to get determined is, and I mentioned this when they were here, is to see if it can be repaired in place.
Mhm.
Because that becomes the domino that then knocks down the rest of the dominoes. That if it can't be repaired in place, then it becomes the bigger scope where we have to look at, are we going to look at full restoration, or are we then going to slide over and do replacement?
Mhm.
So I don't know if they can do that first and charge us for that.
Mhm.
You know,
Everything
if they
depends
charge us,
on that.
yeah, if they charge us
agree with Scott.
incrementally on that, so
Okay,
that,
yep.
to me, that's the first domino that we need to have fall.
I absolutely agree with that.
So
Yep. John? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
thank you.
So I had two other items in this first section, one of which is relating to the land use department. And some of this is going to be a larger discussion. The board had approved as finance director for me to look at fees in general for DPW, the transfer station, and then also for land use planning and that sort of thing. And while time hasn't permitted that as yet, but as I've grown more knowledgeable about some of the fee structure in the land use department and looking at other towns and how they do things, there are several towns that actually build into their fee for certain types of structures engineering costs, where an engineer will take the town's ordinances and go through their ordinances and not only review a plan, but also review as it relates to their specific town ordinances. One such engineering company is Underwood that does this for Boscawen. And our assessor happens to be the planning board chair in Boscawen, and expressed how well that works for Boscawen, because then there is money set aside in the application process for, say, a new big project, that is specific to making sure that it adheres to the ordinances and all other things that have to be checked in the plan. So I guess what I'm saying is that that right now we may need to access additional engineering services for the land use department as we're light on experience at this moment. And what I would like to see ultimately is the town not have to bear anything, but the project, whatever project is coming in, there's some equity with the fee structure that says, oh, if you're doing this and we need this reviewed, this is the fee that our engineer charges for this, or that sort of thing, so that it's not entirely incumbent upon the land use department to be experts in that review process, and then hopefully it would give more information to the planning board as they're going through something. So it's kind of a two-step thing. So I'm taking a very high-level view of this. So if you forget the fee part of it for now, that's something I'm just thinking about and looking into as other towns do it. But more importantly is without the expertise right now in the land use department, I would just like the board to be cognizant of the fact that they may need to access some consulting services to assist them in their job until they have more experience and knowledge in the job.
So this is above and beyond what we already do with a civil engineer.
Right. So many of our projects have third-party engineering monies requested for certain things, and that money is set aside for that project. And so the project pays for those things to be reviewed. But this is to allow the land use department, and I think the coordinator would agree that the engineer that we've historically used is very amenable to answering questions. But if there's something that they need a little more consulting time on, I just want to see if the board is willing to have a certain amount of money, say $1,000 set aside, or some small amount of money that at least they know that they can access those consulting services as need may be.
If that money isn't in planning right now, where would it come from?
So we would have that money available to us through the savings that we currently have in the planning department, in the land use department, through salary savings. So it's really getting the board's consensus that we could access consulting services as needed within reason to be able to assist in some of these projects that are coming in.
So the land use coordinator doesn't approve applications. They compile them. I'm trying to discern why or what kind of question would come up. If it's a larger project, that's already there. I mean, that generates, they pay for an engineer. So I don't get it, I guess.
Well, so I think it's to ensure that we have more than anything, have a resource available to us that we could access. And if it costs some money for them.
But why would the land use coordinator need to access a civil engineer for applications that come in?
Well, I'm just saying it, to have a myriad of resources available to them. So in some respects, I would imagine, and I'm not as familiar with it as you probably are, but while we are ramping up in terms of experience and knowledge, I think it is important to have some backup to that. And if that turns out to be an engineer or there isn't a lot of resource available from Lakes Region Planning, from what I understand right now. So it's just looking at it from a consulting standpoint. If we needed to, access somebody, that we could. So
If we don't need it, we don't spend it, right?
we don't need it, we don't spend it. Right.
You're talking about $1,000?
$1,000.
I can go with that.
Just one of the concerns is that the planning board should have access to that. Because those are decisions or things on ordinances and whether they meet them or not, or they want to allow them, would be a planning board decision, or is he,
Well,
Yeah.
that's what my question
Well,
was.
it's not a
Coordinator
coordinator.
doesn't make those kind of decisions.
No, but they might need help in understanding or knowing more, gaining the knowledge specific to an area. So it's really more resource oriented than specific application oriented, maybe.
The,
It's a better way to put it.
I never remember the New Hampshire Department of Economic Development, is that it? They are a resource for planning boards, land use coordinators.
As engineers,
Pardon?
as an engineer.
No, but as,
Hmm.
they're not engineers. Well, I'm sure they have one that's a state, but they, in the past, they've always been very good about answering. I'm going to call them technical questions.
New Hampshire Department of Economic.
I think it's development. I have their, I don't have my phone. I can send you their number and contact.
So if you'd like to hold off, we could, but
I think $1,000 if it's
Hmm.
there and it's coming from that department, I'm in agreement. I'll make a motion to approve $1,000 for Civil War, civil engineer use for the land use coordinator.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
All right, thank you. So then if I could, the next item is regarding the non-union paid time off schedule. So item 3 on the next page, we'll come back to 2 in a minute, but item 3 is related to the collective bargaining agreement that's going to go into effect July 1st. And in the past, when the union was first formed, the board had the view that as things were put in place for the union, they wanted to make sure that the non-union employees weren't sort of the second-class citizens, if you will, that there was some equity between them, even though they're very different types of jobs. And in fact, when it was first formed, there was a desire to make sure that the non-union employees actually had some additional benefits that weren't in the collective bargaining unit. Over the years, many of the things that were bargained for in the union were also carried forward into the non-union employee manual. And so now the only one that is really non-law enforcement related, and the 3 big things in this particular agreement were the retention bonuses for officers. That was specific to law enforcement. Of course, the wage increases were above and beyond what the merit increases were set at. And then the increase in the detail rates paid to officers, again, that was law enforcement specific. But the one thing that was more general, and which is the paid time off schedule. So we had gone from a 7-tier paid time off schedule, if you recall, and that was bargained to a 6-tier schedule. And it was essentially more front-end weighted. So newer employees started with a higher level than the old schedule. So what I'm asking the board is if you would like to mirror that paid time off schedule for the non-union employees effective July 1st with the collective bargaining agreement.
Is there some form of that we could do better?
It's
Front end loaded?
so in the past, the first year person would come in at 8 hours a month, and that was up to 12 hours a month. But each tier, as you go up in those 6 tiers, those new 6 tiers, each increase was progressively smaller, so that that as you went up, it was a slowing curve. So in the newer employees were seeing a more quicker bump
They got
to
up
get
there
to some
quicker.
numbers. Yeah, but the higher end, it leveled off. I would say that from a finance perspective, it would be problematic to keep many multiples of schedules. It's sometimes hard enough to keep them straight with the few one-offs that we have. So my recommendation would be just to have it become the schedule for the non-union employees as well, those that are eligible for it.
What is the financial impact?
So
A lot, a little?
It is really the financial impact is the absence from the job. So, and if we're having to cover with overtime for something, and that would be primarily in public works, the other departments, alternate time off.
Well, it would affect buyout.
It would affect buyout to a small degree, not to a large degree, because where it increases at the end, it's relatively minor compared to the earlier stages.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do I hear a motion?
Yes.
So moved. Catherine, second. Anyone?
Second.
Motion by Catherine, second by Scott. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay. And so we'll make that coterminous with the CBA July 1st.
Mhm.
Thank you. Then let's see, we have in your packet, you will find what Amy and I have put together for a recommended evaluation form. And it should be following my report. And where's my write-up on that? This is item 4. And this evaluation, so there are two parts to this, and this is what, you all have it. So on the one side, this is intended to be a self-evaluation where you see the grid. There's no numbers in this. This is either, do you have it, John?
I don't have it.
You don't have it?
I have an extra. Well, I don't know. If it's not in the book, I don't have an extra.
Should have been in there.
Was it just loose in the book?
I can.
No, I had that one.
Where did you find yours, Catherine?
I copied it at home and brought it with me.
Oh.
Because I made notes.
Let me,
Do you have one copy?
There's one in here.
Thought I saw one in here. Now I don't see it.
It might have been the one, might have been the one that was.
Oh, yeah, there was one in there.
Is there?
There's one in here.
Oh.
Yeah. Tim's going to run somewhere here. I've never liked the number system. I'm glad to see the numbers are gone.
It was so cumbersome and meaningless.
And you were 4 or 4.5
Yeah, it was meaningless.
or 6.
You know, walk on water.
This is much more compact. I think the employees evaluating themselves and then discussing their evaluation with supervisors with room for documentation at each spot.
Mm-hmm.
and we may have questions or whatever.
Thank you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
You
Joe's.
have
Where'd you find it, John?
Now I have mine.
Go ahead.
I had one.
Thank you, sir.
So in any event, the purpose of this, if you look at the backside first, the grid side, this is intended to be a self-reflection by the employee. And the purpose for this is twofold. If you ever had to self-evaluate yourself, oftentimes the employees are sometimes harder on themselves than their supervisors. But it also gives them the ability to note and see what is important to their supervisors. They're going through this, and in terms of caring about the job, the community, how you conduct yourself, knowledge and skills, dependability, safety. If you rate yourself highly on safety and yet you've had safety issues, this is a great way to have a discussion with your employee to say, well, wait a minute, Bob, you rated yourself exceptional in this area, or actually the categories are consistently exceeds standards, meets standards, and needs improvement, does not yet meet standards. So then they have an opportunity to put some comments in, the employee, about what they've done, any accomplishments or training or other things that they feel as though they need. And the idea is that once they've completed this, they meet with their supervisor, and the supervisor has the ability to discuss their ratings with them and why they rated themselves that way, discuss any performance issues that the supervisor may have noted during the period, and then to write a summary on the flip side, on the cover of it, about their, about the supervisor's evaluation of the employee. It also provides a section for the Board of Selectmen to comment, and or your designee, if you so chose, but it gives you the ability to weigh in as well. And then this is the form that the supervisor would bring to the board, and with a recommendation for merit. And you have the rest of the pertinent information on them in terms of their current rate of pay, the frequency, part-time, full-time, so on and so forth. So, Amy and I had gone through all the different evaluation years, and as you know, we've had many varied ones. And the idea was to try to keep this simple, in that that the time spent on it was not filling out a form, but really doing a concise evaluation and then having the time to discuss it with the supervisor, and the supervisor consolidate their review. And so here, when you get these, when the supervisor is bringing them into you to say, I've met with my department, here are the evaluations, you're going to not only see what the supervisor thinks, but you're also going to see how the employee sees themselves. So it gives you a lot of extra information as you go through this, the process. In addition, part and parcel of this is that I'd like to see that in rolling this out, if the board did agree this form was sufficient, and that we would proceed with the evaluations through June 19th, and by the 20th, I would think there would be at least one or two supervisors that could come in to meet with you and have some of their reviews done and present them to you. So that the bottom line is that by July 1st, it is possible that we could have the evaluation process complete for all town employees. In addition to the form, I would also need to know, whether it's this form or some other form, how you want to handle some of the evaluations, and I've listed those in 4B. So which people the board would evaluate directly, which people, in some other categories, and who you would want to, for them to be reviewed by. So I guess first off, regarding the form, does the board feel as though this form would be sufficient for the evaluation process this year?
So I'm looking at a couple things on this. If we look at the ratings, it says consistently exceeds standards, meets standards, does not meet standards. What are the standards? Because on the back, it says exceeds, meets expectations, or improvement. So, standards, we don't have any standards, right?
Right.
Are
So
they expectations we're looking for?
Don't we have standards in job descriptions and living up to those job
Then we
descriptions?
should put
That
job
would be a
description,
standard.
but that's a job description. It's
Ah,
not, we
true.
don't have an official standard.
No, we don't have anything official, I don't think. I
that's
don't think it
correct.
needs to
Yeah.
be that complicated.
And
quite frankly.
that is the subjective aspect of this. That what you're basically saying to the employee is, are you exceeding in terms of quality and quantity of work or dependability? Someone that's had trouble getting into work on time
Yeah,
is
but
probably
I'm
not
just
going to.
referring to this, a standard.
Right,
We
it-
don't have a standard. Like, is it, a standard would be a certain level. A standard is you're allowed to be late 3 times, or
Right,
and now you exceeded
Correct.
it, or what?
right.
So we don't
Uh,
have anything etched as a standard.
And maybe the
Different
answer to
word
that
might be
is to
appropriate.
remove the wording, does not yet meet standards. Maybe it's just needs improvement.
Well, I'm like Joe, I meant it, I read it to mean, we have job descriptions and there are standards in there, but you're expected to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah,
And
So-
each,
they're listed.
each department, like Public Works, those standards are different from town hall or health officer, code enforcement, or,
Could we change it to
Police.
job description?
well,
That makes you comfortable, I'm all for it. Sure.
So it's
maybe,
not ambiguous.
We have uniform standards and, I mean, you can't come in drunk to work. And I don't know if it actually says that, but that's a standard.
Is it called a standard, or is it just a policy?
Well,
So would you like to
for me,
change?
the policy would be the standard. If they're
Well,
meeting that,
Public Works is gonna have standards that isn't in the job description.
probably not.
They're all digging in a ditch, and some guy's leaning on a shovel. That's not meeting standards.
But they,
Yeah, you could take a break if you needed a break.
Would you like
We're
to
not
change
slave
it
drivers
to
here.
expectations, which would have theoretically been
Soon.
set?
Erase all 3 of them.
Well, if I may, if you use the word expectations, the expectation would be based on the supervisor's communicated expectations when they were trained for the job or assumed the job, as well as the job description, which in some cases is going to be the
Encompasses it all.
expectations. So maybe it should just read expectations instead of standards.
because that's what it says.
Then if you get into expectations, whose expectations?
Yeah, so
If
why
we're
not?
quibbling
Supervisor's
here.
expectations are very different from the
That's right.
board's expectations.
So let's put supervisor's expectations or supervisor's standards. Just add supervisor.
Then do you delete on the backside meets expectations?
No, that's an abbreviation of the front side.
We still have to approve it. at
Right
this
here.
point.
Yeah,
Right
we can change whatever wording you like.
Let's not get hung up on it. Let's just move on.
I think it's
Go ahead,
fabulous.
Scott.
So number one, I think consistency. So we either need to decide that it's going to be standards on the front side and the back side, or it's going to be expectations on the front side and the back side. Number two is if we want to, I'm going to use the term split hairs, but not get to that if we want to base it around the job description, then you can just put that it would consistently exceeds expectations based on job description.
Ta-da.
Something to that effect. And
think
then, that narrowly, that gives a general sense if we want to split hairs and go to that point. I like the word expectations. I think expectations provides enough breadth and width that, we know that it's expectations of the job. We know that it's expectations of the supervisor, in my opinion.
If you look
Right.
at purpose and how to use this form, it's really based on the supervisors. So I think it should say supervisor's expectations. Then there's no gray area.
Based on the job description.
Doesn't have to be because, like I said, digging in the dirt, running a shovel, throwing garbage in a bin is not in the job description.
And thus is why we've had so many evaluations forms over the last 15 years I've
Do
been
one
here.
every year I've been here.
Yep.
But I think this is grand.
I love the simplicity of it.
Well, I love the interaction of the supervisor and the employee.
Can we take a look at job knowledge and skills? It says, do
Well-
you possess the knowledge and skill to do all aspects of the job without assistance? So that says, do you know the knowledge, but it doesn't say whether or not you actually do that. I know how to do it, but I don't. So you're just saying, do you know?
So that's the question.
Yeah.
We can change the
So-
do to perform.
Well, but isn't that a question of, do they need more schooling? Do they need more classes? Do they need more training?
And this opens up the
Quality-
conversation for that.
Quality and quantity of work kind of covers, do you know how to do your job? That's the way I look at it. I like it.
I think we can always, after a first round, come back
Good idea.
and take a look. And, and I like, this is the best one I've seen since I've been on the board.
This one
It's
can't
compact,
work
it's
out
quick.
any worse than any of the ones
No.
we had before.
Yeah, it's,
Or we would still be using the ones we
Just
had
that-
before.
This is our opportunity to make sure it's right. And that third one is based on your knowledge, but not performance.
No,
And
isn't-
this is a evaluation form, yeah.
But isn't the
It's
first
on
one
knowledge.
based on performance?
First one
I'm
would be
asking about
quality.
the third one.
The third one is based on knowledge.
first one would be quality and quantity of work would.
So they exceed the knowledge that they possess? You possess?
You could.
Maybe
Yeah.
they've got a CDLA, but we have no use for it.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I'm a
Or they have a
Or they've got a
garbage,
road scholar,
a
but
water certification.
Yeah.
But they don't really need it.
right.
So you could exceed the,
I say, let's test it out and see how it works.
And then we,
That's what Scott
and then,
said.
yeah,
I
and then we
agree.
come back and see, do we need
And
to,
then tweak it.
I think we're gonna get input from the supervisors because this
And
is
the
really
employees.
hands-on for them. and
Right.
the
Correct.
employees.
and
Right.
that's, to be honest with you, that would actually be a proactive way of getting feedback the first time around on this is.
Have we submitted to the supervisors and asked their opinion of it?
That too. Yeah.
Sure.
They have submitted before we
You don't
accept
want to
it?
spring it on them?
No, if they're gonna be doing it, I think they should
That's a
have
good idea
input.
too.
But
And
they've
make
got
sure
a
they
new one
understand.
every year. I don't think we ever took it on the road to see how it was going to work out for
Well,
anybody before we
maybe
did
it's,
it.
maybe it's time to do that one. So,
Maybe that's
Any
why
way
it
you
doesn't.
I want to move
As soon as they
forward.
get it, they don't like it.
Take it out and give it a
Wow.
spin.
I have talked to a couple of them about it, and everyone's liked it that's seen it. They like the idea of the employee doing the self-reflection,
Mhm.
and they like the idea that they can, then, that generates the discussion. I guess, if you want to, so you want to have the department heads weigh in and give you feedback on it, or what would you like to do? I mean, we can change the wording. I changed the wording at the bottom of the front page. Consistently exceeds expectations based on job descriptions and supervisor expectations.
I said send them out so they're familiar with it, but let's try it out.
Well, I say, let's try it out.
I do too.
Everybody?
Let's
Yeah.
use it and then work
Oh,
on it
yes.
afterwards.
Well, yeah,
Doesn't work, we'll change it again.
yes,
We'll probably change it again anyway.
I hope not.
I agree with,
Okay.
I agree with what, I mean,
History shows.
yeah, I agree with what
I know.
Catherine said. I think we send it out, give it a test run, and then after we see them, I think it's not a bad thing to solicit some feedback from employees and supervisors. Okay, are there any holes? Are we missing anything on here that we should probably add in?
Okay.
So,
Right.
So
John?
that,
or take away.
Mhm.
I think that we should all be working together, and these are the supervisors, and there might be something that they could add or subtract from this, or any suggestions. They're the ones that are right there into, working with the employees. They might see something that we're missing.
Excuse me.
All the previous ones, we've changed it. We've submit and the supervisors say, oh, no, this doesn't make any sense. And then, so we change it. And then we send it to them and they say, it doesn't make any sense, or I can't figure this out, or whatever. We're not asking the supervisors to weigh in on it or just any comments. I mean, what's the big deal? I'm just a couple supervisors, take a look, say, hey, what do you think? You know, get back to us. Any changes at all?
Have you shown
You
it
know,
to any department heads?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
I
Have
like
any
it.
feedback from the department heads?
just positive, like, oh,
Okay.
okay, kind of like, nothing, nothing to add. I felt from the standpoint of the PD that they would continue to do their own
They have their own
evaluation. Right. So I'd spoken to
standard, they
the
have to do their
DPW
own.
director, and he thought it was fine, but part of this process is going to be, because he's new to evaluating people, that I would be, with the board's approval, I would be coaching him and helping him
Right.
understand, how to go through the process.
Seems like he probably knows after all these years whether somebody's doing their job or not.
Oh, he absolutely does.
Well, that's the main thing.
It's a matter
That's why he's the
of
supervisor.
Filling out
right?
the form
recording it.
correctly and-
Right.
So, John, they've seen the form, so are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you give a copy to Johanna? for the
I can,
sewer
yeah.
Commissioners to
I sure can. Yeah.
look at her input?
Okay, so that consensus is yes, we'll go ahead and try it out and then obtain feedback after it's out and about, after we receive it
All right.
back from
And then
everybody.
the next two items, these were left over, I believe, from your last meeting. One was to approve the land use coordinator job description, which is also should be in your packet, as well as review the code and the health officer code enforcement job description. And then understanding if that's something that you want to get posted right away once you approve the job description. And, just for me to understand what kind of timeline are you looking at? What sort of range? Have you given any thought to part-time, full-time, that sort of thing? How many hours? So I guess first and foremost, I understand that you've reviewed the land use coordinator job description for several weeks, and Selectman Dawson's comments were incorporated into the new version.
They were, we never discussed them.
You didn't?
No, we've
Oh,
been
okay.
pushing them off because there were other things more important.
Okay, so you all have both of these job descriptions. So maybe that's one that you can review, and unless you want to discuss it tonight. But otherwise,
Do you know where they are in here?
I do not.
believe they are behind the town administrator's report, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Am I
look at
correct?
you.
Maybe. I thought I saw it.
I have land use coordinator.
And then right behind it, there was this,
I have town of Tilton hiring procedures right behind that.
Yep.
okay, well, there was a thing. for
Oh,
the
I
code
found it. It's
enforcement.
right here. I got it. All right, thank you. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Take those with me.
Just so I have an understanding, has the board discussed what type of position that new position is? If it's part-time,
Part-time.
it's part-time. Do you have a feel for how many hours a week that is?
Same, 32.
32.
32.
Are we calling it zoning code enforcement / health officer?
Sure.
Or
Or
is-
the other way around, it doesn't matter.
How about zoning code health enforcement officer?
Health officer is the title, and the other is zoning code enforcement officer, so I don't care which gets top bidding. I don't think anybody does. It's the description.
No, I'm just asking the board if you want to combine the two positions.
We did that.
We didn't take a vote on it.
Yeah, it's in our
Or
minutes.
consensus.
It was in our minutes. Our last meeting.
We talked about it.
I'm pretty sure we voted on it. The board decided to combine the positions and advertise, and they will decide later on who the employee will report to.
The board decided to advertise it?
The board decided to combine the positions and advertise.
There's no mention of, I think that was just a discussion, Catherine.
I remember there was a consensus because if you remember, the conversation went sideways. And that was probably my fault because I started talking about
Right.
the job description, and then I corrected myself, and then the board agreed.
And
to
it
combine
came
them.
around again. Yeah, okay. And then
But we can,
No,
you
that's
can
fine.
always redo a vote.
No, I'm fine.
I'm somewhat unclear, though. So the job description, you still have to review the job description before it's advertised, I would imagine, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so right now we'll hold off until the board has an opportunity to approve the job description?
I'm not going anywhere.
It's one page, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's just review the job description because you want it to be posted, correct? Can we take a minute to get it just,
Do we have the health officer?
It's the,
Well,
it's the
it's-
combined.
I know it's combined,
Yeah.
but I wanted to compare it. That's just me.
I don't think I ever saw a health officer job description.
What?
I don't know as I ever saw a health officer job description. Know everything.
And I believe it's Sandy Plessner who wrote it.
Catherine, did you not write this?
I didn't write this. I've never seen this.
Oh.
I know. It's all right. It's the place
What
to
is it?
start, right?
I think that was the former town administrator that had written it.
Okay.
My
I
understanding.
thought it was my understanding that you were going to get,
We were going to
You-
work together on it, but that didn't happen.
okay.
I've never seen this document.
All right, thank you for the information. Now I'm going to read it.
We're busy getting fence quotes.
What?
You were busy getting fence quotes.
Okay. This isn't going to work.
Okay. Broad authority.
So there are many more public health laws besides 128. That's the nuisance law.
Well, why would it prepare recommendations for zoning board of adjustment applications and determine the extent of review required? Why would that be in there? Can someone explain that?
Yeah.
Is that the building part?
The one
No,
underneath it too.
it's code enforcement. That's what we do.
Technically, it's not building inspector, it's just code enforcement.
It's just our zoning ordinance
Okay.
enforcement.
Attend zoning board of adjustment meetings as required. That's not right. Generates quarterly and annual reports for zoning code enforcement.
Yeah. This is very incomplete for health officer.
Well, judging from the code enforcement that we just took off, it's incomplete for code enforcement as well. Okay. Would you like to attempt to fill
Sure.
in the health
I
officer
say,
part?
sure, but our ordinance, our job descriptions are not in a format that you can, you basically have to rewrite the whole thing.
Is it in PDF?
I'm sure I can find it on the
Because you can
system.
get it transferred from PDF into Google Docs.
Oh, yeah, no, I can,
Yeah.
I'm sure I can find this on his
Yeah.
system.
I can,
I
I
can,
mean,
I can send it
basically,
to you.
I'd start with the two we already have. And
There's
look
a
at
way to
them and
get it
update
from-
them and
Yeah,
combine them.
Tim
Yeah,
knows there's
I
a
can,
way. There's a way to get it from PDF to Google.
Oh, yeah,
Docs.
yeah, I've
There's a
got
couple
that.
ways.
Yeah, I do
Ways.
that all the time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I can work on this and send out a revision or draft or some such thing to the board, and Selectman Dawson has time
I'll look at the
to
two
look at
and
it. That'd be great.
I'll just
and-
give you my input on what we already
We'll just
have.
bring it
too.
back at your next meeting.
Do,
Okay.
Can I be a part of that too?
absolutely.
Responsible for all
If it's
six.
done in time, would it be worth it for the rest of us to be able to just get a little preview and take a look at it?
Mm.
If we just sent it by email? 'Cause
Oh,
then
yeah,
we-
yeah,
then we could-
absolutely. I'd
then we
share it
could-
with everybody.
Then
Yeah.
if
Yep.
we did our homework, then we might be able to expedite the conversation when we get here. For Joe's sake.
Try to do something over the
I
weekend.
think we talk a lot.
See, I'm trying to make sure that.
I appreciate
our talk is directed and focused. I'm always looking out for you, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so moving on, that does bring up, as I'm talking about your next meeting, as I'm sure you may have seen on the July 4th is a Thursday. That would be your regular meeting normally. Would you prefer to meet the week prior on June 27th? And
Sure.
this relates to my next item, which is your town administrator search and coming up with a general process and timeline that I'd like the board to kind of give some guidelines on. So, so 6/27, does that?
Don't want to extend it any longer if we can avoid it.
Right.
So we're gonna meet the 6:20.
27 instead of July 4th. Obviously, you wouldn't be meeting July 4th, but
So we'll be meeting June 6th, the 20th, and the 27th.
correct.
Okay.
And if I have my way, you'll be interviewing during June and be able to make a decision in that timeframe. So if I may, I'm going to move on to the
Was that a
interim.
consensus? Hold
Oh,
on a
I'm
minute.
sorry.
One
Yep.
sec. Everybody, yep,
Yep.
okay.
Good.
So if I may, I'm going to move on to
Yep.
the
Go ahead.
interim town administrator report. You haven't heard from me so far. So you've already agreed to repost the open positions. Thank you. So the radio tower battery replacement. We have right now for the police department, if you recall, we had switched from the main repeater being on Belknap Mountain. We moved it to Shed Road Tower, which is the fire district's tower. And then we put our secondary repeater onto Belknap Mountain. And we found in the process that our coverage in the dead spots was not an issue anymore. We didn't have any dead spot issues, which were problematic over time from Belknap Mountain. But it does serve as our backup. And each year we pay the state of New Hampshire $1,000 towards the maintenance of the repeater at Belknap Mountain, which includes some of the infrastructure within there's a small shed, if you will, there. The fire district approached the PD and the town because the backup batteries that are up at Shed Road are 5 years old and are no longer storing and able to be used. So they have to be replaced. The fire chief told me that currently, if we lose power, road power at the Shed Road location, we'll have about a minute backup before that whole tower goes dead. So the cost of replacing these is $7,200 plus dollars, $7,269.99. And the fire commissioners have requested the town share the cost of that, or $3,635 essentially. And again, this is so that if we lose street power up there, we're not going to lose the ability to have radio communications off that tower. I had anticipated that if the board was in agreement that it would be a good use of a small amount of the ARPA funds to do that, and keeping in mind that we don't pay for electricity up there. We've paid nothing for anything at that location other than our installer to install our equipment on that tower.
Half is better than 63%.
Excuse me?
Half is better than 63%.
That's
Or
true.
with a six-
That's
with a
true, that's true.
67 hour.
But we're already paying 53%, Kathy, of the other half.
Yeah, yeah, good point.
Do you know if they have a generator backup or they're only just running on batteries? That's kind of odd that there's
I thought
only
so
a
too.
batteries to
Yeah.
run, no generator?
No.
Like, wouldn't there be grants for generators? I know they give us generators for less things than that. That is something I'm a little shocked that it's just batteries.
But does the Northfield Police Department use that tower as well?
They do not. It's just the fire district and us.
Okay. Do we still use the one on 132
No, we don't.
when that was erected?
It was to eliminate that whole
The
flag
town
spots.
was granted permission to use it for free.
We still have permission, but it when the study was done of all the coverage areas with all the new equipment when the building was being built, initially we had some huge trouble spots. Even at 99 Restaurant, we couldn't get
Okay.
coverage, even for a number of reasons, but by swapping our repeaters, the primary and secondary repeaters, and putting the primary at Shed Road, it solved all of our problems, our coverage problems.
A good use of ARPA funds.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Scott.
So as I don't know what the shelf life is of those batteries, but it might be good to.
5 years.
So
Yeah.
as we look at this, it's now something to note that the year before it's going to come up for replacement, we know we've got to write it into the budget.
Yep.
So,
We're not gonna have
And I
ARPA
did
funds.
Yeah.
make a note of that.
okay,
Thank you.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I had thought that as well.
Can you ask them if they have an electric generator up there, or are they just solely running on batteries?
I will. That's what the
Yeah.
chief had indicated to me.
Hmm.
But I can ask that of him. Yes. If in fact they do not have a generator capability there, does the board wish to do this or?
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
We
go ahead.
got to do it.
Yeah, it's
But I
public
think they have to be a little more proactive on having a generator too, because batteries go dead too.
Right.
After a while.
Correct.
If you have 3 days that it's out.
Yeah.
If you have batteries that go dead, you're completely out. If you have a generator, you can keep adding fuel to it for
Right.
3 days.
Yeah.
So it's a little,
Good point.
Okay.
there's lots of grants for that type of safety backup.
And as we're going to be using ARPA funds for the split of the cost, would someone from the board please make a motion to authorize $3,635 of ARPA funds towards this effort?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to use $3,635 for tower batteries. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. The next item is regarding the senior center bus. So the bus, as you know, has had some issues of late. It was out of service for a while because of the circuit board. Spinnaker Manufacturing was kind enough to have 2 engineers spend some time and go through it and try to find where the failures were occurring with the board. And they isolated them to integrated circuits, unfortunately, which effectively are chips. And without a replacement, there was nothing that could be done for the board. At the same time, the van was due for inspection. It was taken to Harbor Enterprises for the inspection, and as it was now overdue, and it failed inspection for the rust on the frame and rust of the body, and the inspection sticker was scraped off. So we do not currently have a viable transportation in form of a bus. So I was asked to look at, what we could possibly do in that area. And there's everything from replacing, say, with a minivan that would be less expensive than what I have in my report, but all the way up through, say, a Ford Transit passenger van that would be like a 12 passenger van. So in general, if the board wants to support the senior center having this transportation, this type of vehicle, and supporting the rides that they do for seniors, something's going to have to be done. I can tell you the senior executive committee has contacted some donors, and they have started getting commitments. And I listed out in terms of where I thought money could be raised. The Senior Center Donations Fund has the capability of putting $5,000 towards the effort. It seems as though there's probably about $5,000 that could be raised through corporate donations, and the Capital Reserve Fund, by having that at this point, it would apply for the vehicle as well. So that would be about, if the board agreed to that, it'd be about $5,000. The bus should sell for something if someone wants to use it to convert it to a camper or some other type of thing, if they can do the repairs to the frame. And other than that, this would be on the very high end, say 33,000. If it were more of a minivan type of thing, it'd be less money. But just wanted to alert the board to the issue that it needs to be replaced and to see what action, if any, the board would like to take.
Is there something other than just that one brand of?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There's
Specifically
numerous,
says-
well, yeah, no, there's numerous makes. I mean, there's Ram makes it. Basically, all the work type vans are also available as passenger vans. Most of them, like Ram makes one, Ford Transit has one.
They just add the door.
Right. And there are also minivans that have handicap ramps and, that sort of thing. And Selectman Constantino would probably be better at expressing, how it's often used and what would be required. But
If we go with the reason why we thought maybe a Ford Transit with like a 10 or 12 passenger was because this one is a 10 or 12 passenger. But in reality, we use it on a daily basis to bring, which is the primary reason, uh, residents to doctor's appointments and getting them in and out of the van and bringing them to doctor's appointments. So that's probably 95% of the use of the van, the bus. The 5% of it is to take them on trips, which we do like the Gift of Lights, in that we take 10 at a time, and then the next weekend we take 10 more because it fits 10. If we do like a Ford Transit, it wouldn't have a wheelchair in it, but we have less than, I don't even think it's 1% of people now with wheelchair requests. And the people that we do have transfer wheelchairs that they sit in the seat, and then we have a wheelchair that they put in the back. So that 1%, Granite State Independent Living has wheelchair accessible vans that it's $22 an hour that the person, either we do it for our town, or Northfield does it for their town, or Samberton does it for their town, it doesn't matter, or the person picks it up. I don't know how we would arrange that, but it's $22 an hour in mileage, and which is reasonable because it's not. So do we need to pay that exorbitant amount of money for a wheelchair ramp, which takes up almost a third of the vehicle? And then Tim had said, well, you could get something like a Toyota Sienna or something which has like a 4 or 5 passenger, because you would need at least a 4, because you sometimes when you bring people to the hospital or you pick them up after surgery, they need to be accompanied by people. You can't just pick them up, and they have to be accompanied. It's a rule that we have. They have to be accompanied by other people. They have to have the room. We've had people with broken legs and so on and so forth. So they have to have the room to accommodate that as well. And something like a Toyota Sienna, which would be a little bit less expensive than the Ford Transit. We were looking at the Ford Transits, which you could get for low mileage. We saw quite a bit of them in the state for anywhere
Up to about 30,
Up
33, 35.
about 33,000, 35,000.
They go for about 60 new. Yeah.
Right. So for low mileage, and we were kind of thinking of in that, but we were just exploring the idea of the Toyota Sierras, which I think would be a little bit easier for the seniors to get in. And also, between the two of them, it didn't matter which one, I think we would also welcome new drivers, because it's very intimidating to drive that bus. And so when people say, well, we can train you, we can teach you, it's still intimidating to them. To back up that bus, it's, because there are blind spots
Big
and
deal.
stuff. It's a big deal. But to drive a minivan, a Ford Transit, or to a Ford Sienna, a Toyota Sienna, it's a typical vehicle. And we may be able to encourage more drivers as well. So that's a plus.
And plus also the maintenance is probably
In
going to be
the
much more available on
right.
a regular minivan, whether it be a Toyota, Honda, Chrysler, what have you.
Right.
But that would discontinue the outings, would it not?
If we get the Ford Transit, it won't discontinue the outings because it will be at a minimum of a 10 passenger, probably a 12 passenger. It will not discontinue
Right,
the
but if you
outings.
got the Toyota,
If we got the Toyota, it would discontinue the outings. However, in the area, we've been very blessed with First Student that have donated in the past. I don't know about every year. They've donated their time in a bus to pick up on a specific
nice.
day. They've done it in the past, so I don't know going forward. There's always new managers that come aboard or whatever. But if we got the Ford Transit, it would not be an issue because that would be a 10 or a 12 or 15 passenger, depending on what's available. But we do need a bus. It's called for almost daily. And I might add that Jane has been driving the people that have been calling for a bus right now, and we hate to say no. And between Jane and Iris Iano, we've been very blessed.
Would Northfield or Samberton chip anything towards this? I know we have residents from those two towns that utilize the bus presently.
They pay each time we take somebody, so per trip.
Pat, is there anyone who is a rider or a user of the service on a regular basis that needs the wheelchair accessibility?
Not at this moment,
Okay,
no.
okay.
There was one that used the concert series on a Sunday,
Sure.
every Sunday, but he passed away about a month ago. Mike.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in thinking about I mean, if we think about it, that the minivan in many ways could be a more prudent decision economically, et cetera, gas usage, very honestly, when you look at it, cost of tires in the end, things like that.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like First Student might be an option on the outings, but I would also like to say that, there's the ability to also for an outing to be able to rent or lease a larger 10 to 12
Right,
passenger vehicle as well. So,
As I recall, the whole purpose in procuring the van was primarily about transporting seniors back and forth to appointments.
Hmm.
Maybe a lunch thing, somebody up in the square needs a ride, and sending that whole bus up there doesn't make sense. So we could rent a bus or a van for a day if we were going to go to the track or for the lights, Festival of Lights, we'd go to the track.
So what are you looking for us to approve the opera monies?
Well, and to search for a vehicle.
And the capital reserve money.
Yeah, as well as to use a portion of the capital reserve money. Right
Who is
now,
the agents of that fund?
you are.
Oh, we are.
We are. Yeah, the board is.
I think we've got to look for one, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So I think the search and taking a look at something prudent, something that's going to be fairly rock solid. As a former Toyota Sienna owner, I say that proudly. It was rock solid for 5 kids in and out, and I think my biggest repair on it was the brakes. So
That's general maintenance.
yeah.
So would you want me to do some more work on this and try to find a framework, like not to exceed, I don't know, $28,000 for a minivan that's 21 or newer, or 21 or 2020 or newer, less than 60,000 miles, something like that, and then figure out what portions of those you would have to allocate from resources that you have access to, say the capital reserve fund, the sale of the bus. And maybe at this point, maybe maybe that wouldn't garner 3,000, but, and then the use of ARPA funds. Or would you want to approve a set amount? I guess I'm just wondering, how would you like to proceed? Do you want me to come back at the next meeting with some ideas and that kind of framework?
See what you can find.
Okay.
Come back, we find something good, we'll
Yeah.
prove it and say
think-
go.
Okay. Okay.
I think we need it sooner rather than later. And I
Yeah.
honestly don't feel that, especially if we're looking at a dealership, presenting what this is for to a dealership.
Right.
You never know what they're going
That's
to
right.
say on that end in terms of where they could help.
They might make a donation.
Correct.
Okay. All right. We'll bring that back to you at the next meeting then.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks. So then we are up to, I have in my report, I won't read through them, but number 8 lists the open projects. And I will be looking at C, which is a grant opportunity, to see if that could be earmarked for the replacement of the bus. That's $5,000. But a number of these things, these are all items that I picked up from Administrator Branscombe, and they're in various stages. So this is where I'm trying to make contact with a number of these people, but there are people that are on vacation right now. The attorney that's referenced here is out till the 28th, so I won't be able to speak to him directly on item H. And so in any case, I just wanted you to be aware of these are the items that I understood were open with a former administrator, and I've made some notes tonight, obviously the ones that you brought up to me, and I just want to make you aware of those. And other than that,
What is the fellowship contract for board signature?
that is the Colby Sawyer
Oh, okay.
grant.
Yeah.
The
That's
intern.
Colby
It's
Sawyer-
in
The intern, correct.
And did you get an update on Morrison Avenue?
Yes. So this morning, Director Dow and Foreman Fife and I met with a representative from Porter Paving and also the citizen on Morrison Avenue to discuss and understand what the issues were. We discussed the project with the contractor. Some options were discussed with the contractor and with Fife and Dow. And they're going to work on coming up with what those options are and present them to the board at your June 6th meeting.
Was the individual from Morrison Avenue included in that discussion?
He wanted to present what the problem was. And all he asked for was, before something is done, would someone please communicate to him what the plan is to get it done? And right now there are 4 components to the plan, and depending upon how Director Dow and Foreman Fife formulate some of these things, there is there's the contractor. There'll have to be some work done in working with the contractor over the remainder of the contract. But in any case, the director is going to come discuss these issues, but there's 4 basic options.
And the contractor's on hold for the top coat.
Is on hold. They were Administrator Branscombe had put on notice,
Okay.
and so other than that, that's where that stands right now.
Just to add to that, it's not just one person.
That's
And
correct.
it's all the way down. I know the berm at the end of the road, that they built that up so they could now put another berm back in when that was supposed to reduce, so they wouldn't have a berm, scrape their car. And I also noticed that now off of Main Street, the water flows down behind and into the guy's yard again. And the other part of it is somebody's going to need to contact the gas company because they dug up the road and there's only cold patch in there. So they have to remove that cold patch and replace it with the base, because you cannot put a final coat over cold patch.
So if I could recommend Director Dow get a hold of you and maybe review those
And
items.
those are the only points, and he has, just take a look. I just want to
Okay.
make sure that
All right.
they're conveyed to him.
I'll make sure he listens to this
Yeah.
and takes note of that. Great. All right. And then the last item I had was probably the most important, which is on my report, item 2, the town administrator search, timeline, and plan. So what I would ask the board to do is to discuss and decide how you want to progress in selecting your next town administrator to guide the board and town through hopefully many successful years. So the position was posted on NHMA and on our website. And we have, to this point, had 5 inquiries, and all experienced people, 3 of which are in positions now, similar positions now in other towns. And so what I'd like to do and what I'd like to recommend is that we keep the ad open until next Friday, which would be May 24th. So just see if there's any more. It's kind of slowed down, but leave it open for another week, and then request information, additional information from the people. Most people have sent a letter of interest and a resume, but Amy and I had discussed some ways of really seeking more pertinent information on the people. And at one point, we were thinking essay questions, but more likely say a 3-4 minute video answering questions about the most difficult board experience they had and how they handle it, most difficult personnel experience, how they handled it, most difficult legal issue, grant issue, how'd they handle those, and a little introduction of themselves. So, and from that, you'll have something that you could review and get a sense of, all the individuals that have come forward in a short format. Alternatively, I think there is no substitution for being able to sit down and talk to someone face to face. And one option would be if you would like for Amy and myself to meet with the 5 individuals and write up a summary for the board, but the board pick which of the 5 you want to meet with, but you would get our opinion as to fit in writing, how we think that they would do from that standpoint. Either that or from the video standpoint, decide who you want to bring in. But it would be helpful, at least for me, to be able to have the conversations with the individuals to determine their availability, to get a sense of, what their expectations are in terms of benefits and that sort of thing. And they may have questions as well. So before you have an opportunity to sit down and really grill them and get a sense of who they are, that's what we were thinking would be a logical progression. But very quickly leading up to your ability to interview them in June. And hopefully the goal, my goal for you would be to have your selection done in June over the course of a couple of meetings. So you have 3 meetings in June, and that you could have someone start in that position in July. But of course, all this is up to you. But what I'm looking for is guidance on a timeline, a process, and so that we can be facilitating this for you and get it done as quickly as possible.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So the first question you asked was turning off the advertising next Friday. I feel we should leave it on until we have an actual agreed offer. So
Okay.
sometimes people didn't notice it yet, and they might come in. And right right, until we have an offer that's accepted, that's what I feel is when we should stop the advertising.
Board? Everybody agree to that?
Is there a downside to that, Tim?
No,
Then
No.
let's do that.
What does the
Okay.
ad cost?
it's just, you would have, that doesn't cost anything, but what you would have to decide is if you're, you know, 3/4 through your interviews and somebody pops up, you would just have to decide whether you want to put them through the same process, if you want to bring them in for an interview. You know, that's the only downside, and it's really not much of a downside, so.
You'd have to put them through the same process.
You'd have to put 'em-
EOE is.
exactly, right.
Same process, yeah.
Okay.
Everything else sounds, the interview things, I don't know what other people think of that other question Tim had, as, you know, how you want do it. Do you want to do a
Well,
video? Or
My other
I'm
question-
comfortable with you, you and Amy vetting
Okay.
through a lot of it
Some of the
personally.
people we've had sit here before us, I knew good and well, we're not gonna hire this person. Why are we even talking to him?
Mhm.
That one guy
Oh,
who
boy.
liked to talk.
She told me about him.
Oh, so,
All
yeah,
right, Scott, go ahead.
No, I agree with John. I think that I think especially when you have the two individuals that Tim has mentioned, himself and Amy, who are going to work like directly on a daily basis, multiple hours with them, I think that they would be a very good committee to sort of vet who should be the last 2 or 3 candidates.
Mhm.
To be candid, I think having 5 or 6 or 7 come in front of us is a huge amount of time that we would be burning, when if we can boil it down to 2 or 3, that's going to be a good thing. And from my perspective, I trust Tim and Amy's perspective on who would be or who could possibly be a good fit in that office.
Mhm.
You know, I think that they've got a good sense of what would work in this building. So that's my 2.5 cents.
Catherine, anything?
Well, I like the plan. I like John's addition to the plan,
Mhm.
and it's going to take you a lot of time, so thank you in
Well,
advance.
and I do plan to
Rush.
ask them for links to, because for those people that have already been in position to present to boards, there's either audio files of them doing so or video links, and that when the time comes and you want to, you know, see them in action with a prior board, you'll have that opportunity, which I think is a unique thing within this industry, that you can see how they handled themselves in a different situation. So great, then we will go ahead and proceed forward. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Great job, Tim. Thank you.
That was very thorough.
I would
Thank
say
you.
that I'm glad to see, not just this stuff, but the other list that you have of all the projects that are open and the things that are going on. I'd
Ticker
love
tape.
to actually start moving forward on some of this, because I don't feel like we've been that productive in the last several months. So hopefully this will start a whole new thing.
I will do my best, and I can tell you, I feel like you've given a lot of positive answers tonight, and that I already feel like, based on what you've approved, that we're going to get a lot done.
Mm.
And that'd be my goal. I'm happy to move as quickly as the board would like to move. So thank you.
Great. Okay. That being said, we'll go into Selectmen's report. John, do you have anything?
I think Catherine's first.
Oh,
Catherine is first
I'm
on the
going-
list.
oh. What list? I'm going by my list.
We're going by the agenda.
Maybe you
Doesn't
wanna
matter,
do-
we all get to talk.
What do you?
The chair's going rogue on us tonight. So.
It is her
Well, I
prerogative.
figured
No,
if
it
Catherine
is.
speaks first, and I'll have less to talk
I have
about.
2 lists here.
Maybe.
Yeah, half my stuff will be
Or
gone.
more, depending on what she brings up.
There you go.
Okay, Catherine, go ahead.
Emails. I think I have over 7,000 emails
Hmm?
in my
I have 15,000.
I mean, yeah, but I've eliminated them, realizing I'm not really eliminating them. I'm only taking them from my screen and they get sent to the what, server? Why can't we dump our emails? They're like phone calls. They're nothing.
You can.
I mean,
Yeah.
we don't, we get these 91A requests and then somebody's going to go through all these emails. It's nuts. I mean, and some of them are just solicitations from outside agencies. You don't have any appointments today.
I put them in trash and then I empty the trash.
But even if we do, they're still held in the
Mm-mm.
air, aren't
No.
they?
Nope.
No.
Nope. They're gone at that point.
If you
You
empty,
empty the
if you empty
trash
the
and
trash,
that's
they're
it.
gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
No, I didn't know that.
Welcome to technology. Ken.
I've never deleted one iota since I've been a selectman.
I'd hate to see the big.
I copy some of them, so when I get legal advice from municipal, I always copy it and I have a folder of them.
I was gonna say,
So I
you
don't
can
have to
take, you
bother
can
'em
take a
again.
folder and put the ones in the folder
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you want to retain,
But-
so.
The rest of it, it's like,
Using the labels is highly,
Efficient.
efficient way of doing it.
Yeah.
And you can actually move them right out of your inbox into a label and it just moves it out
okay,
for you.
I didn't know once I got rid of them, I had to dump the trash. Somebody told me they were being stored offline somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're in that cloud thing or in the server or
Not
what.
once you've trashed them, they're gone.
Yeah.
Thank God, okay.
And then the rain gets them, Catherine.
Oh, here we go.
Moving on.
I have had a couple of people ask me, and I was reminded, I didn't remember them, but I was reminded. The planters, evidently there's planters along
Yes,
this river
yes.
and up by
Mm-hmm.
On the
Cropsey's building.
Hang on the fence.
Trugine Trail.
Who's planting those?
The highway usually puts them out, but we don't know who plants them.
Jeannie
Last
planted
year,
them before.
Jeannie planted them.
Do we want to offer them to the Conservation Commission? Or,
They would like to do that.
Anybody
That
would
would
like
be,
to step forward, otherwise we just have the
the Public Works has told me over and over
Yeah, I
again,
know.
they are not gardeners.
Yeah.
They'd be happy to put things up.
if the conservation would step forward, that would absolutely be delightful to do that.
Or parks.
Didn't we
Oh, I didn't think about parks.
eliminate money for spending on plants in the planters downtown and filling them? I thought that was eliminated from the budget. We did not.
We still have some money for
Yeah.
that.
We have money for plants.
Expensive
Yeah.
annuals.
It had been reduced, but we still had some money. Yeah.
This is not something we need to have our interim town administrator doing, so.
Great.
So,
Well, it might
If you
be,
don't plant those planters pretty quick though,
no, it has to, yeah.
That's
It's
the,
got to get done in
when
the
I
next
was-
couple. next
when I
couple
was
weeks,
asked,
yeah.
I thought, you don't want to wait until June.
No.
Do you want me to contact Parks and Conservation?
absolutely.
And,
we
I
have conservation right here
well, we have a member.
and they're meeting Monday night.
and he could bring it in,
Yeah,
right?
third Monday.
Yeah,
Well,
there
I'm
might
going to
be
send it
somebody-
out to them now. That way they can discuss it at their meeting.
Great.
And then I'll send it out to Parks.
The Department of Corrections is having their annual plant sale
Right now,
beginning
isn't it?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
And they have 16,000 plants there, which includes, I think it's some thousand petunias, which are very inexpensive and prolific.
What time does that start?
I don't know, at 9 or something in the morning or something. I don't know.
At the farm?
So there's lots of options.
So in the budget, we had a little over $2,000 available, $2,300 for flags, flowers, and holiday decorations. So there is still flowers listed.
I get them now. I get them very inexpensive when I used to before. Bob Hardy is amazing.
If Bob's got them or whatever.
Let's see if we can do it, and then.
All right, I'll send an email out to them both.
Be happy to go. get my
And,
hands dirty.
We're not meeting again until, when are we meeting again? March, the end of May, right?
2 weeks.
Next week.
Big gap.
Are we not meeting next week? I thought
Well, that was one of my things under my
Okay.
report.
So my question is going to be, if one of them accepts, do you want me to say yes?
Yes,
Please.
yes.
And
I'm
if
a
they-
yes.
I'm a
Okay.
yes on that one.
Absolutely, yes.
And if they both accept,
Then one of them can
Let
do
'em
one
say-
side and one of them can
Yeah.
do
they
the
can
other
do them
side.
together.
Or do them together.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
let's keep,
Yep.
my opinion is keep it consistent, whatever flower, et cetera, we choose, keep it
And
consistent.
we also have the planters that are probably Public Works. We spent $600 a planter on.
Oh, they did, yes. I was down there today talking to them about the parks. What a great experience that was, working with Shane and
Oh,
Pete.
yeah.
I'll tell you, we have a
Enthusiastic.
win-win there. We really do.
Mhm,
It's
We
amazing.
do. We do.
Yes, they did mention whiskey barrels.
They're not whiskey barrels. We
Well,
bought
they're
large
Special
self-watering.
Self-watering. Yep.
Right.
whiskey barrels, but they're plastic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, planters.
Who plants those? Same thing?
We had people volunteered to do it last year. We had a
The
couple different
businesses
employees.
came out and
They-
did it
And the businesses donated, most of those were donated.
by the businesses.
Okay, so that's
$500.
taken care of.
No,
No,
No.
got to ask them again this year.
Yeah, because the person who asked is no longer with
Right.
the town.
but we did,
We still
We-
have the barrels.
and we coordinated the type of flowers and that were in them. So
We did?
it
You
wasn't
didn't just let them do their own thing?
every,
Mm,
Yeah.
it was all
Yeah.
matching kind of plants
Yeah.
throughout the town.
Hmm.
And
Like
those
a
are
theme
great
type.
because that Public Works doesn't have to go every
Week
and
to
because
water
it's-
them.
it's-
It was a
keeps them
self-watering
self-watering.
unit.
Any objection if I get Judy Tilton involved?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay.
Any resident that wants to be a help, I'm all for it.
And if
Well,
you go,
she's on parks and she's absolutely awesome.
I
She
suggest
is.
that you take the town credit card if you're going to go down to
Been
the,
some students in
to
the
the,
ag, at the high school, the ag department.
Oh, I was going down for myself. I hadn't thought of that.
the New Hampshire, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're going to go down there, just take Tim's credit card.
The
Personal-
the Winnisquam Ag Department,
$300
another
limit.
resource, if they'd like to do it, get some
They're,
recognition.
Oh, that.
they have a substitute teacher now.
Yeah.
So that'll be complicated. We had organized, the parks had organized them for cleanup in Buffalo, but that's kind of gone lopsided because they now have a substitute teacher for a while. Which is unfortunate. The teacher is amazing. I'm sure the substitute is good, but we're missing her. All right, I will, okay. I'll be calling Judy.
Okay.
Get her on board, and especially with the thing, and I'll send an email out to Parks and Conservation. And I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right. Next on the, let me see, which list am I looking at? Okay, John.
I was hoping you'd go next. I'd have absolutely nothing left to say between you guys. You guys cover every base.
Okay.
Very thorough, but I do have something. So years ago on High Street, we auctioned off a lot. That fellow who purchased the lot, I think he went home and told his significant other or wife that he had bought it, and they said absolutely not. And they lost their deposit on it, and the lot was never re-auctioned. Now it is, I think with the money that we need, this could pay for our bus or anything else. There's no specific reason why the town of Tilton is holding on to a completely empty lot that could raise tax money, as well as we decided before to auction it off. Let's do it.
We were asked by a group of residents on High Street and High Street
Make it a park.
Extension to leave it as an open space, make it a park,
Correct.
and not to sell it. So at the time, the selectmen agreed to, that was what,
Leave it.
6,
I
7
think
years
we
ago?
agreed not to sell it, not to turn it into a park.
Yeah.
Right, we agreed for
Leave
now.
it
we
as
would
green
leave it.
Conservation, if
space.
they wanted it.
They
and
wanted
they
green
said
space.
no, nobody wanted.
But they wanted to, a person wanted to purchase it and put it in as an easement, not as an easement, as a condition that it would stay as green space, and we said no. Remember that?
I think it's
I do.
time
Yeah.
that we do not hold on to something. If somebody wants it, they can chip in, they can purchase it, the neighborhood could purchase it, or anything else, but we're losing out on our tax money on it. It's just sitting there, and why are we holding on to this property that's not under anybody's jurisdiction?
It's a good point because it's within walking distance of Buffalo Park, and that's a huge green space.
Any property the town owns that we're just holding on to because.
Well, we have one
All
over
three
on, we have one over by Ruby Lane too, don't we?
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we put that lot on
On the
High
beach.
Street up for auction and proceed with that.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we proceed with auctioning off the High Street property that the town owns. Is that the motion?
Yeah, that they,
Okay.
Can we make an addendum to that? That we offer it to the residents on High Street and High Street Extension?
I think that's improper to not get the fair value that it's due to the town.
Or we can
They can
reject
always
any
auction it.
offer?
They can always, we've done this before and said, no, absolutely not. We have to do auctions such as on Sherwood Drive and other places.
Okay,
So,
I guess they'll
Yeah.
find out, and if they want to buy it, they can go to the auction.
They can, submit a bid.
Submit a bid. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
For my reference, where is, I know High Street, where on High Street is
Right
it?
right at the four corners,
Okay,
the house.
So it,
yeah,
High Street Extension and
Yep.
High Street,
Yep.
it abuts both streets. It
Right.
has frontage on both.
The house right there from High Street at the four corners.
Yep.
It's one in.
Right behind it.
so is it that one?
It's U7, Lot
Yeah,
9.
I believe so.
It's,
Got it. I got it.
it's assessed at $49,000.
It goes from Pine Street over to High Street Extension.
It's 0.39 acres.
Pine Street or Cedar? So,
Oh, Cedar, I'm
So
sorry.
Cedar,
Well,
it touches
Cedar
Cedar.
for a little
Cedar
bit.
And
Okay.
High Street Extension.
Right,
Okay,
Cedar
okay.
for a little bit,
Cedar,
and then it goes into
Because this is
Pine,
Extension and
Right.
this is High Street. So
Okay.
it's Cedar
got
and
it,
High
I see
Street
it.
Extension.
right
Okay.
across from Gail's house,
Yep, I got it. I
right
see it.
there.
And it has water and sewer.
Okay,
it does have water and sewer.
Make a nice
yeah.
little house lot.
And a lot
Yeah.
of ledge.
And a building lot today is probably water and sewer. Yeah. 50, 60.
okay. I see it.
Bus.
I'd forgotten about that.
Right, a motion's been made and seconded. We're gonna call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Good.
The next thing, after that, I noticed that we're getting more washout on 3 and 11 around the curve undermining the road where the guardrail is, and the wall has collapsed more there. I cannot express, I don't know who we need to get in touch with DOT, but there's big safety issues. We get trucks going along there, and I don't know what we're going to do, but they need to be
Okay.
vigilant.
You have to get in touch with DOT, I think.
Well,
Express that
I'd
the
start with
wall is
District 3.
deterior-
Yeah.
They know.
well,
They're waiting for it to collapse, I think.
and this
Be
is
good.
public safety issues.
I know.
We talk about bridges and that collapsing. Now we have a road that's now beginning to go into the travel lane of washout.
We
On
told
3
them
and 11.
about that. They came back with traffic circle. It's not like they don't know.
No, what I'm telling you is it's exceeded what it was before substantially.
I'd start with the commissioner. I wouldn't start with
I'd start, you're
District
right.
3.
Yeah,
I'd
I'm
start with
just
the
sitting here
commissioner.
thinking
Go right
of
to
the school
dot.
buses.
school buses, trucks,
Mhm.
It's the
logging
main
trucks.
artery between east
I
and
rode-
west
I
and
rode
central
over
New
it the other
Hampshire.
day and noticed that.
And there's no quick work around that. There's no quick detour.
Yeah. And everybody's, will look at, well, it's has changed.
And
It's
there's
not
three
that
of,
it's what it was, it's now changed.
Should
In
we
3 spots, I think, I
Yeah.
noticed.
send a letter from the Board of Selectmen and we all sign it?
mhm.
Mhm.
And there's 3 or 4 bus routes that go pass through there.
And it is going into the travel lane, where the pavement is breaking out and washed out. So
Hmm.
that, and I
For
think,
someone that didn't have anything to say.
yeah, I was hoping everybody else would say. I don't know if there's any other lots in town that are also available for auction, or that we don't need.
We have a
It's a
list.
good real estate.
We have a list.
We have a list. In
Remember
fact,
the beach up by Ruby Lane?
in the annual report, there's a list of all town property, and
Ones that were just, we took for some reason that should be auctioned. And the other thing is Mechanic Street, where we at? You don't have to answer that.
yeah,
I'm just asking.
that is not on the list that you have in
That's
front of
on
you,
my
but
list
it
coming
is
up
on.
next, John.
Did I get your?
Yeah, I sent out pictures.
So I'm at that. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm sure
Okay,
there's other things I missed.
thank you,
Thanks.
John. Scott?
So just a couple reminders for the general public relating to School Street traffic. This Sunday, May 19th, is the Rotary Fishing Derby at the Tilton School Pond, which always clogs up the sides of the roads. We just want people to be very, very cautious when driving through there because it is such a family-oriented event with lots of young children and with their parents and families going to that. So please make a note. That starts at 8 a.m. Being someone who lives right next to the event, the cars usually don't start to dissipate until about mid-afternoon from the sides of the road. So just having everyone be aware of that.
Do we still have that sign that the police have that we could put out that says slow down? People in road or something?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
When is it? Sunday?
It's this Sunday, May 19th,
Sunday.
starting at 8
Did we
a.m.
ask
Lots
them
of
if-
kids running around.
Oh, it's
Excited.
yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. Other than my little yippy dog barks all day, but that's okay. It wears them out, so that's good. And then on Saturday, May 25th is Tilton School's commencement, their graduation ceremony. So obviously, traffic on School Street starting probably around 8 or 8:30 a.m. will be quite clogged up. Our PD is always there sort of directing the traffic and getting the families parked and things like that. But just to make people aware, if you're in a rush, probably going around School Street that morning is a better thing to do. That's it. My traffic warnings for the week.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Joe?
And Scott's is a great segue into the first of mine. On Sunday at the fishing derby in the little hut down there, I'll be making my first appearance as a burger and dog guy in like 18 months.
Nice.
Welcome back.
Yes.
And then the
Very
following
nice.
on the 24th, I'm doing one for Lieutenant Salmon out at the police department for the first responders. They run a race every
Oh,
year,
yeah.
5K or
That's right.
whatever. So that's the first thing. I'm back. Secondly, I would like to, that segues right into this. Police department, they caught the guy who
Mm-hmm.
destroyed
Yes, they
the
did.
cemetery.
Yes.
And I won't mention that individual's name, but
Yep.
PA Police Department,
Nice
it was a
job.
coordinated effort and
Public
it
record.
turned into a lot
It is
more
public record.
than
It was on
just
the news.
cemetery fixtures. So
That's correct.
they really, they put somebody out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, Police Department.
He's been in business for years.
Apparently, considering what's going on. The sidewalks really, really, really need to be repainted. I don't know if we're gonna wait until the third week in June, but they really, really, really need it right now. So you can, I don't know what Public Works stance is on that.
Did you say repainting? Is it?
Repainting the
Crosswalks.
sidewalk.
The crosswalks.
Crosswalk.
Yep.
They shouldn't be blue
Why shouldn't they be blue?
because people who have Yep,
Color blindness?
color blindness. That's one of the colors that's,
Well, pass that along as long as they're painted. Yay.
And if
As
you
it's an
recall,
eyesore.
we have the new machine this
Well,
year.
there you go.
So
it should be reflective.
Well, they do
Sure.
the stripes in white, reflective. They just do the filler in the middle with the blue.
Blue, Tilton, they had some already. That's how that happened.
Oh,
But whatever they work out. Uh, there's a couple of trees down on the island, which don't pose an immediate threat to anybody because nobody's supposed to be going out onto the island. That said, they could in a boat if
Yeah.
they launched off of the park up there, conservation area. Sorry, Kathy. Uh, but they're down, and so that probably in the scheme of things going to need to be looked at. And my main thing today is the wall over by the water company. There's a rock, a whole section of it really came out of there. Big rocks, like hundreds of pound rocks. One of them rolled right up to the building, and it's that far. It didn't hit the building, fell out of the wall, rolled down the hill, and stopped right beside that building. Now we can fix that road, and it's right now. It's kind of on hiatus or something. We had a plan with Tinker Toys or Legos, and that guy isn't here anymore. But we need to do something. We really need to do something.
Well, the
We-
water district wouldn't agree to the agreement they agreed to when they were here.
Well, we need to press it again because unless they're willing to assume liability for those rocks coming out of that wall, they have to make some kind of a deal with us. They have to. Or they have to be liable for it because we want to fix it. It's not like we don't want to fix it. We've been talking about this for years and, oh, well, we can't. Who's going to, and maybe you're going to come too close to a pipe. If we come too close to a pipe and break it, we fix it. But we got to do something about that wall. If you haven't been down to that wall over by the water company, amazing. And I drove by it. I drive by it periodically. And I'm going, good God almighty, a big V came right out of it. And I came down around, and we know that there are voids underneath that asphalt that are just crumbly rocks. If we don't do something about that, and you might, I don't know whether we talk to the public works guys, get their take on it, or what we do, but
We
have
to
you
an
been over
agreement.
there, Tim?
we're gonna have to get quotes, that's for sure. And I can tell you, it was left, the last I understood, it was in the water district's court
Correct.
to come back to us. And their attorney who was working on the agreement, we never received anything back from them. If it's that dangerous, would it make sense to make both ends just cul-de-sac, cut it off in the middle so there's no through traffic through there?
We can close one end of it completely. There's no houses down there.
Oh.
Well, no, because the water district is down there.
So,
We have to do
John-
something, though.
John, go ahead.
so this is the same type problem that we have in various places. The drainage from the road is draining in one exact spot and eroding it away. We need to keep a berm there so the water flows past that, not all the water going right there and doing it. That's why, I think 2 years ago I suggested, and Kevin did put in a berm. I don't know if it got damaged,
The berm's
what?
gone.
but the berm is gone
Oh.
and somebody replaced it with landscaping fabric, which is, that's not how you do it. Let's get the berm back in there, cold patch, and keep the water from going over the banking and down and washing it out, just to begin with. But we still need to proceed with the other stuff. We
And
need to stop the
I don't even know how
erosion.
you're going to berm that, John. I mean, there's a
It's
thing
too
that
much
comes
of an
more than
opening.
halfway down the wall.
So
Okay,
this is
If you-
surface water that's caused
this is surface.
and not underwater.
The problem is the
Correct.
road
Both
flows
of them.
down the street. There's a missing section of the berm,
I've seen that. I
Okay,
saw that today.
and the water from flowing down the street all of it flows right that area, created awash going down into the side of the wall of the thing. So cold patch, 3 yards of cold patch or 2 yards of cold patch and keep it so it doesn't keep that river stops flowing down there. At least we'll stop it from continually eroding.
Yeah, there's got.
But if you also go down, excuse me, Scott, if you also go down in by where Joe saw the big rock that's down by the building,
Several large rocks.
if you go up and look underneath the road, it is washing away. So there's two problems. The water is coming off of the road, which is washing more of it away. But you have that underlying problem where there's gaps underneath the road, air pockets, which is washing the rocks that are under there out of there. And it's just going to more.
So you get a cavern.
Correct.
We have a canyon, a little wash in the Rio, whatever they call it. The whole the rocks fell out of the wall.
It's just like a little cavern underneath there.
I think we're gonna need a civil engineer to
I
tell us
don't
how to
think
fix this
we do.
correctly.
I believe we do.
Can we get at least decide on getting a berm put back
Oh,
in?
yeah, and I
Let's
would suggest
progress with that.
that we
At
get
least-
Public Works over there and divert that water.
So
We have
we
to
get
do
a-
something now, like
Get
as
a
John
major storm,
suggested.
Yes.
we don't make it
Yeah.
even worse.
Yep.
And
I
please
got it.
reach out
I've
to
got
the
it noted.
water company.
Yep.
They know. I talked with a water company guy. He says, well, I'm new. And I said, well, come around here and look. And the rock is literally, I can't get a fist sideways through it. And I'll bet that rock weighs 400 pounds. If it had
What?
hit the side of the building with any kind of force, we'd have been
Crack it.
buying new
Siding
building
and-
pieces. Oh, yeah.
So if I may, there's two issues. One, as you may recall, our capital reserve fund for roads, streets and bridges is severely low this year. And the second thing is specific to that road. When I'd been over there before talking with the powers that be, along with Jeannie and Kevin, and they were discussing how things were going to go, part of the discussion was if there were ever a dire problem with the center of the road, that just past where the water district goes in to their place, that could be barriers could be put up there, and just past the last house's driveway, where they park right next to the house, it could be cut off there. So you'd have a middle section of the road that wouldn't be traversed if it was deemed dangerous. So
Sure
that
looks
was
dangerous.
the plan at the time, if it ever got to that. So I just wanted to make the board aware that was what was discussed at the time. But I'll certainly talk to Director Dow, and we'll go out there and get him to get the berm
I
in.
think
and
it's
then-
that.
Some
It
type
could-
of stabilization and notify the water department.
We need
Find
that
out where we
agreement.
at.
Yeah.
Where
We
specifically.
could close the road to through traffic and still allow, I mean, somebody coming in from Academy Street is
How-
only gonna be going up there to go to the
That
water
was the
district.
last idea that was brought out.
It-
How are
One
you
end
going to
is open-
enforce that?
One end is open.
Barriers,
Barrier right in the middle of the
put some
street
concrete barriers right across,
so that you can't drive.
so there's no way they can go through.
That's
Road closed.
that's what
Road closed
that's what I was
through
talking
traffic.
about. Yeah.
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 Tim's plan to close off that middle section.
But you don't
But
even
there's
let them
still
get
trucks.
to the part that's washed out.
Yeah, you
It's
just close it
before and
off.
after.
There's still big trucks that use that
They'll
road.
they'll have to take another route,
And they do have to take another route.
because if there's caverns under that road,
Yep.
we don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
deep they are. We don't know how much it's undermined.
Correct me if
That eliminates all the seniors going to the concert this summer.
Well, then it is
Why?
what it is.
Why? They can
You
go
want
up
them
the hill
down in
and
the
go
ditch?
across
They
that way.
can't go up the hill. It's a longer walk for them to
Oh,
go.
to what? Well,
Yeah,
we can make it so people can walk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could leave those,
walk up the hill.
you could leave the barriers so that a
There's-
person could walk between them.
Absolutely.
What Tim's plan was closes off the center section. It does not close off the section down there.
Where
on
the road is.
That's right.
Okay, so you can drive them up.
You can
Okay,
drive them right up.
Because the water company's got to have access to their
That's
drive
right.
as well, which is
That's right.
Would have right
just
across it.
directly across from
You close the roads,
I think
but you
so.
don't stop what's happening.
okay, let's move on.
Well, that has
So-
to be addressed.
So
Yes.
I mean, you're just closing the road, but you're not addressing the fact that there's things tumbling, so.
So
it's
We
stabilization.
already said that we were addressing the berm and all of that.
Berm.
So
Right,
in the meantime, it doesn't cost us anything to get estimates
correct.
on the repair.
Please.
We have a bunch. We had engineering
did.
studies.
That was years ago.
So the prices have changed, but the methods don't necessarily.
And the
We-
road
we-
has changed.
We spent a lot of money. It was before you were, while you weren't here,
I spent money on,
engineering on that. Sonar and engineering on the
Oh.
whole road.
Ground penetrating radars, there's big pockets.
okay,
there.
so now that you've got that, taking that information,
Mhm.
we need to get an estimate on the cost of repair in
Right.
today's world.
Mhm.
So I have 4 to-dos out of this. One is the berm on the road. The second is regarding the civil engineer to get quotes, correct,
repair.
to repair it. Third is contacting the water company. These aren't necessarily in order, but contacting the water company and getting this thing moved on so that they are aware and take responsibility and work with us on this. And then the fourth thing is barriers. So
Goes to through traffic.
so that would close the through traffic. So the board is in agreement to close the through traffic to Academy Street with
I'll make a
cement
motion to
barriers.
that effect. Temporarily close Academy Street until such time as we
Safe
get
to
that
drive.
road fixed and make it safe.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded to close off each end of
No, the middle.
the middle.
So that-
Close it to through
Okay,
traffic.
I was gonna
Leave
say
the
each
ends
end.
open.
Okay, the middle of Academy Street for safety reasons, temporarily until it's made safe. Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Then
And that's everything on my list.
I'll also ask Director Dow to make sure that they've got the proper signage for that.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Are there any regulations for the fire department or anything because they have to have turnarounds on streets, or they have to notify them what's going
Yeah,
on?
we'll have to reach out to fire and safety. Of course, they're right down over the hill, so they can figure
you
it
wouldn't
out.
want 'em to go
once
one
we
way on
tell
the
them,
street.
Yeah, once we tell them which ends are open.
We also, the roads are marked as one way, so they'll
Yeah.
have to be two-way now.
Right.
Yeah,
Joe, you all done?
I am, and I'll be right back.
Wait. Doesn't matter. All right. I'll go for the ones that we don't need any things. Senior Center generator. Seems like everything is going progressively well. Chris was up there. DPW did the trench, so that's in there, and he's just finalizing now the gas.
Good.
So once that's done, then JP Carter can come back and hook it all up and test it. And then the generator will be up and running. A huge shout out to Shane. He built an amazing threshold. For a few years now, we've been battling with how to come up with an idea because the main floor and the kitchen have a dip in it, and the thresholds that people have come up with have not satisfied, and it's become a trip hazard. And I gave him a piece of mahogany, and he did a phenomenal job. So looks great, and it's functioning very well. So thank you, Shane. Today was the helping senior up at the Tilton School, where the seniors at the Tilton School go out and rake the leaves and clean up the yards of our seniors in Northfield and Tilton. We're very grateful. This is at least 25 years plus that they've been doing that. So we're very grateful that they're in our community and do our seniors, help our seniors in that way. So thank you very much. And DPW will go around and clean up all the bags that they've left on the side of the road. The May 30th is the 5th Thursday in the month. When we have 5, we always ask whether or not you want to meet. Judging from the agenda that we just had, I don't know if you want to or not.
In what month?
May
Five.
May
I'd say
30th.
considering the washout and Morrison Avenue.
And
Even if we have
senior
a
center
short,
bus.
a
Senior
short
center
meeting,
bus.
Mhm.
we should probably meet. And I'm very seldom in favor of having meetings
Next week.
that we don't need. Yeah.
We
I
need
would
to act
say.
on things on a
Yeah.
timely basis.
Short
Yeah.
meetings,
We'll
so
catch up, and
Hopefully
that'll
we got
help
some
work
good
on
stuff to decide
Tim's
on.
list too.
It's
okay. 30th. Also, the 30th is a reminder that we need to get in touch with, because the last couple of years, we've not been notified by the VFW when the parade has taken place. And I, for one, I've only missed one, and that was because I had COVID, but it doesn't seem like we have enough people downtown supporting the efforts of the VFW and our community for the parade, however small it is on Memorial, to encourage people to come downtown and support that. And I think if we know ahead of time and get the message out, that more people would come, because it's not out there, and
Can we
it's
put
not.
it on our little billboard thing?
Should.
Portable billboard?
Yeah, it's our police sign. I was
Yeah,
going to say that.
absolutely.
We should,
Parade
and
on
let people know to come out and support.
At such and such a time, yeah, Memorial Day parade. I always hear about it later on. Because I would go.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean,
I
it's
always
very
make it,
quick.
yeah.
It's not,
It is really fast. It's really quick.
I
it's
think
not,
there's only 5 of us out there this
Right.
year.
well,
I walk
that's,
from the VFW around the block and back to the VFW.
and
The
that,
last time I saw it, it was a nice parade.
it
and
was a nice
That is-
They
parade.
had expanded it.
It's
Nice.
probably
Nice
maybe,
parade, but nobody to watch it.
No, there
And I
weren't
think
many
this was
people.
very
20,
nice to
30
over here
people
with
are out there,
5
and
of us.
it's pretty sad.
Well,
But you make a good point. I didn't know about it.
Right.
I was only there because we were
You were out with
planting.
the flowers,
And we
right?
went, oh, what is that? And Helen goes, oh, it's the parade.
Right.
Memorial Day used to be a big thing
Exactly.
and should be a big thing.
And
in
it
my
should be, right.
estimation.
So I have
We're
Yeah.
four brothers as veterans, and I was very blessed that they all came back. So, okay, in the Trail Association cleanup is on June 1st. Do we know what time?
No, we can put something out for.
We'll put it out
It's usually
before then.
9 in the morning. People show up with rakes and shovels, or
We have lots of
All that.
purple bags, I think.
we have purple bags, and also we have the blue bags that the
Oh, the
state
blue
gives us.
bags too.
Yeah.
And I would hope that we can, anything that we find along there, the Public Works will accept or as trash, or
John, I think you need to explain to folks that listen what the blue bags are all about, because maybe this time there's a lot of people that seem this year to start adopting their roads and highways in a little piece of their highway, and they start cleaning up. So why don't you explain what the blue bags are all about?
the state, they gave out some, you can get them, I think the town clerk got them for me before. I have some still, and they're trash bags for anybody that wants to go and clean up trash along the roads or that, and the state will pick them up when they drive along and they see them. The state workers will pick up those bags and dispose of them. So it encourages volunteering, helping to clean up.
Town workers operate the same way, right? If they see
Yes,
a
yep.
bag on a town road,
right.
Pick
If
it
we
up.
let them know that they'll come and pick them up, correct.
For
Yep.
trash pickup.
Yep, they would actually welcome that. If somebody adopted a street that they lived on, that put the bags out and let them know that
I just
they'd do
do
it.
mine.
And where do you get the bags?
I have some. I had the town clerk, I think, got them from me last time
The state will,
through the state.
Yep.
District 3
I
or
think that-
I think it
Concord?
was.
I think
Concord.
is it Concord? I
In
thought you could
Concord?
get them at each district, um, each district site. I don't know,
Hmm.
because I remember picking them up for.
You
when we
see
had
them on the
adopt a
highway. I
all
think
the time.
they're
I do.
using some yellow too.
Yeah.
You see the trash bags and
Those are state out on the highway.
I think that's it. That's it for me. Is there any more from the board? Go ahead, Scott.
Did we want to talk about the stop sign, Clark Road, Kobe Road piece?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I also, this agreement and release for the Range Road
Hmm.
doesn't pertain to what's taking place there. This is a duplicate of what we did on the other side of Range Road when somebody came in to build a house. So what they've done is they've subdivided, so they now have 4 house lots, but they're not asking for a building permit. And so this doesn't speak to the situation, that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that, my understanding is that's more of if you really want to build a house out there and you get permission from the planning board to build a house out there, you understand that the town doesn't maintain that road.
Well, what's
Correct.
interesting is Nate Langione, after we met Tuesday night,
Mhm.
investigated and sent out an email. And there's a state RSA that says when somebody wants to build on a class 6 road, they have to go to the planning board first. Then it comes to the selectmen.
Did I sign that, Catherine?
Yes.
So
My
we,
feeling is if you
so
own a piece of property, you can build
So
a house.
this
Listen.
doesn't cover what they're doing because they're not looking for building permits.
but we talked about this, in a couple of weeks ago. We all signed this.
I
And
didn't.
then they came to, yeah, we did. We all signed it. And then it went to the planning board. It was approved at the planning board. And we couldn't find the original so that we could record it in the registry of deeds because that was a requirement that the planning board asked for it to be done. And so that's why it's back here
So
for
that's the
its
new
signature.
original.
So that's why it's back here for the signature. It's the same form, but
Incorrect.
however incorrect it was. We signed it a couple of weeks ago,
Well,
the
we
same
should
thing.
destroy it and rewrite it and sign it again because it says, whereas the town has agreed to issue a building permit for the construction of on said property upon the filing of the within notice.
But in
But
fairness
that's
to
not what
the,
we're doing.
but in fairness to the homeowner, we signed it, he signed it, and it was witnessed. So in that paper, we couldn't find, and it's back here for a review, back here for a re-sign.
Don't they have the permits now? They have the building permit.
Mhm.
No, they have subdivided it
They
into
have
4
permission
lots,
to subdivide it.
which they are going
But
to
not actually
sell.
built.
And then an owner will come
No,
in and ask for a building permit.
Correct. They have,
I mean, it says the owner shall be
subdivision was
responsible for
approved.
maintaining
Yeah, that was my
the
thing.
owners.
But that whole having gotten the permit part should be taken out. I agree.
Well, yeah, like I said, this doesn't cover it.
If they don't have the permits, then
Doesn't cover it. I think it's a do-over. to do due diligence to the property owner, it's a do-over.
Yeah, I would take mine.
And from what I
Strike my
understand
signature.
from Tuesday night, he's gonna have to come to the Board of Selectmen anyway, because the fire district is requesting them to alter the road.
That's gonna cost him a lot of money.
And our own ordinance requires something different, so it gets complicated.
He's fine with doing it, Joe.
So be it. Let them work it out the proper way, and when it comes back around, I'll sign it again.
Well, we have to look at
I
our
just think
own.
that I just think that's ethically wrong.
What?
For me, I think it's ethically wrong because we signed it, he signed it and got it witnessed.
I am
I just
sure
think that it's ethically wrong that
he
we
isn't
do
gonna
that to him.
mind
Whether
if we
he,
correct it.
No permits have been issued.
This is
It
supposed,
says-
this is
he
going to be,
went to the planning board, hold on a minute, Catherine. He went to the planning board, officially went to the planning board with his plan. It got approved
The
and a notice of decision was given. Yes, with conditions. And one of the conditions was this gets to the registry of deeds.
but he still can't do anything until he comes back to the Board of Selectmen. I'm just saying, this is gonna be filed with the registry and it's an incorrect document. That's
Can
what
he
I'm
come in and we'll talk to him about it, draft it up the way that we want and see if he's okay with
It
that?
it isn't going to alter what he's trying to do. We're not gonna all of a sudden say, no, you know what, we've changed your mind. You can't build on the Class 6 road. We're just
Communicate with
correcting this document so that it more, I'm gonna say it again, correctly
Correct.
describes his project.
I get what you're trying to do, and I have no problem with what you're trying to do. It's just that look at what we are doing as a board. We sign something, and a couple of weeks later, it's a
I
redo.
don't know if I
We
was
should
here.
really pay attention to what we're doing and what we're signing.
I believe at the
It's
last
because
meeting,
ethically, we're
I
not
believe at the
really
last
doing this.
meeting, I said this document doesn't pertain to the property. But nevertheless, we have, or at least I've found something that's incorrect, we should correct it. It's just that simple. We're
Let's
human
talk to
beings
the
and we
guy.
made a
Let's
mistake.
say, we'll sign it.
Yeah, he may be
I got
completely
no problem.
amenable to it. Let's just,
I'm human and
let's
we
all
made a
about
mistake.
communication and,
Fix it. It'd be worse if we didn't fix it,
he's probably
Could be.
perfectly
because we
fine
don't
with
want to hamstring this fellow.
Say it's going to reduce his time ultimately.
Not really, because like I said, he's got to come back to the Board of Selectmen. I'm sure we can have a document ready for our next meeting and it's signed.
Yeah.
He may be here and he can sign it.
Why don't you rewrite it to what you want?
It's not what I want. It's what the law requires.
I have no idea what you're,
Strike the part
Get her
about the
done.
permit.
It refers to the
strike the parts
owner.
that
It
you want
should say
stricken and then I'll
owners.
rewrite it.
Owners of the property.
So how are we supposed to have this ready for next week or the next meeting if we don't know what you're not happy with?
Know what I'm not happy with?
Well, we
You've
have
got a document.
signatures.
I just read it to you. We are not issuing building permits for this property. That's not what we're doing.
Eventually you are.
Maybe.
Yeah, but go ahead.
And then it says the town and the owner. Well, it's not one owner. Somewhere in it here it should acknowledge the subdivision. Whereas the town recognizes the property was approved for subdivision to 4 lots.
So my
And then it should
suggestion is,
say the
right,
owners, not owner,
Just talk to the guy.
the
So my
owners shall be
suggestion is-
responsible for.
then
I mean, it's,
my suggestion is, Catherine, to look at it thoroughly and make some corrections, come to the board. If we agree, then we have a clean copy. Amy will make the corrections on it. We have a clean copy and then we can sign it.
This is gonna sound terrible, but I think I got enough to do with the job descriptions. This is pretty simple. The town administrator wrote this, did he not?
No,
You wrote this?
no, this was in there from Pest House Road in the
So
house
this is an
before
exact
this.
copy of the others that had nothing
Except
to do
what
with
you-
subdivision. That's what I said.
Except what you crossed out the last time that you told me that you didn't want to sign it, and you crossed out private road, because it wasn't a private road. You read it and you said, no, this is
Can I take
unacceptable.
this? Tim?
Yeah.
Can I take this? I don't have scanning capabilities, so I'll just drop it back off.
You want me to
Let me know
scan
and I'll come
you?
and sign it.
Would you like me to just scan you a plain copy?
No, I'm just gonna mark up this because it's not that.
Well, that one has signatures. What?
I thought you had,
She already has it in the
I think we
computer
got it
if
all
you
figured
want,
out, don't we? What we're gonna do?
Catherine. She already has it in the computer as a blank copy. If you'd like her
have
to
her
just,
send it to me.
just send it to you.
I thought you had a document over there that was already signed.
This one has just the selectmen. It doesn't have the witnesses or it doesn't have Kyle.
Okay.
You want this one? You can have this one.
No, if she can send me
Okay, a clean copy.
a clean copy, I'll try to do it online so I can send it back to make it quicker. But it's, you know,
How about those Colby Road stop signs?
Okay?
I did not sign that document just because the one thing that I would really like to see added to it is in my opinion, they need to add a couple more speed limit signs on that road somewhere. So
so we're talking about
the Colby Road,
Colby.
Clark Road, it's, yeah,
So-
the veterans home stop signs, et cetera.
I'm kind of stuck on the fact the line of sight of Colby Road is not great, but it's a through road. Colby to Clark is a through road. Califf and Winter Street have to stop. So really what we're saying is on Colby, we should have warning signs, four-way intersection,
Yeah.
incoming traffic, rather than changing it and putting a three-way stop there, because you're really making a four-way stop, are you not?
Correct.
It's not a
Yeah.
three-way. Because
But
Clark,
it's a real
When you
funny
look at
Okay,
the
way.
map,
that's
it's-
right.
Yeah, it's funky.
so rather than creating that, why wouldn't we just put up more warning signs on Colby?
Traffic turning and
Look at-
entering, all that.
Right.
They
Look
have-
at the
they have-
problem that you have when you come off of Califf to Clark, and if someone's coming from Colby. I agree with you, totally. Let the record show. I agree with you.
But we should, I mean, that's what's needed there is more warning signs that you're coming to an intersection.
And that's, so what I was thinking is I looked at it because they're proposing the warning sign 100 feet away, and then they've got the temporary orange sign telling people that there's a new stop. I wonder that if we ask for a speed limit, another speed limit sign on the west end, speed limit sign on the east end, you could also mount another sign on there that there is a four-way stop coming up. So
Well,
you
not a
could kind
stop, the
a
intersection.
four-way intersection.
Traffic
Four-way
entering and
intersection,
turning.
yeah, four-way something.
Both.
There's something that you could kill two birds with one stone, because again, there's the only speed limit signs are right as you enter from School Street and right as you enter from Route 3.
So are we in agreement to have the Colby Clark stop signs?
I never was.
I'm not, I wasn't, because look at it this way. They're gonna put a stop sign at Colby, Winter, and Clark, and then you have Califf over here with a stop
Weird.
sign. And let's say there's a car stopped at this, or even if there isn't, a bus coming out of Califf stops and then has to make that turn and then stop immediately.
Yep.
Do they have enough room to get out and
Especially
clear the
with a boat and a
intersection?
trailer.
I don't think there's 40 feet, is there?
I don't think so. So I think it's creating a
I
more
hadn't thought about
dangerous
that.
situation.
Personally, I
I think-
wanted to have a public hearing because a lot of people are going to be affected by that.
That's right.
Haven't heard from any of those people,
Nope.
really. You said that.
If you're going to
would-
change
okay,
it to a public hearing, if you're going to leave it alone,
I agree
Leave
with
it
that.
alone.
I think that's a
I'm all
great,
for leaving it alone.
I
I
agree.
think we just need to
Tell the
better
state that we don't want
signs.
it.
We don't want it, but we do need better signs and for speed limit and warning.
Okay.
Or I hate to throw another, not wrench in the works, but idea is, do we ask for it to be a reduced speed limit as you approach that area?
Yeah, that's going to work.
Just,
We,
come on,
it
Joe.
took us what,
Trying
30
to be-
years to get them to
trying to be
drop this by 5 miles an
I'm
hour?
trying to be a
be
proactive
easier to put
elected
increased
official
speed
here,
on the
thinking
other
multiple
areas.
ways.
I drive, obviously, Caleb Hill quite a bit and come down Winter. And I can tell you, sometimes you turn off a Caleb Hill Road onto the little bit of Clark before you turn on to Winter, and somebody is
Oh.
flying
Yep.
through, and you don't see them. You don't, they're on you like within seconds. So that's why when I heard about the stop sign there on that side, I thought, that's good, because they're going to have to stop. So you're not going to have somebody plowing into you.
So maybe a stop sign just on that one spot, not on,
Clark.
yeah.
On
not
Clark. Yeah, the issue is not the Clark side.
It's
It's more the Colby, because you can't see, you don't have
It's
the line of
blind.
sight at all. It's totally blind.
It's completely blind. I mean,
And
for
they
someone
are
who,
right there,
Oh, yeah.
right quick.
for someone who travels,
Enforcement.
et cetera. And you've got the new resident at Tin Corner Farm
Mm-hmm.
that's, that they,
Coming in and out. Yep.
correct. Yep.
I agree.
So maybe it's now maybe we're looking at a request to do only one stop sign, the one
On
on
which road?
Colby. It would be the Colby
Colby
side.
side.
Colby.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming from east to west.
Right.
So
I
it's-
say we ask for the signage and have a public hearing and
Yeah.
discuss.
Right.
take a look at it. Yeah.
Let the residents
I
in
like
that
that.
area
If people
know.
going fast.
I think
you know,
Joe's
it could
idea
be
is a good
anybody-
one, the public hearing part.
Agreed.
If people are going fast on a road, it could be anybody that's pulling out of their driveway just as much as somebody going on the road. It's an enforcement issue, and
Yeah.
we need to
And it's
start.
a driver issue.
Yep.
I
And
think they come
there's
around that,
revenues that are made by
the
tickets.
Gulf. They come around the Gulf corner and then they go, "Vroom," to get up the hill.
Hey,
And go, hey, this is
downtown.
fun.
Well, I didn't even think about bus, truck, et cetera, with the Caleb Hill and then Clark Road stop right there.
I
That would be
practiced
really
it today
funky.
in my SUV and I thought, yeah, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Open
Joe.
trailer.
And I might point out, you were talking about down there on the corner. If you go down that corner and then you go up the other side, there's a real steep ravine, like 50,
Yep.
60 feet down into the brook or whatever. And there guardrails, sort of. They're there. They're kind of like laying over anybody who they're completely ineffective. Now, I don't know what, if any, liability we have. I don't even know.
Well, it's a
State road.
what guardrails where?
Oh,
Not the ones down, are
Colby.
you talking down on the low part?
no, you come up the hill,
There's-
headed toward School
There's-
Street.
There's no, I'm telling you right now, there's no guardrail. And trust me from someone who rides it.
It's there.
So
It's just not effective at all. It wouldn't guardrail anything.
I don't know if it is.
Well,
I'm
if you-
not, like, I'll go take
If
another
you stay in the
look.
marked lane,
Don't take
go
it.
the speed limit.
Going up the hill.
I think
You
the
know,
answer
let's-
right there,
Right
right
inside
now,
the
we're
guardrail.
Yeah.
at no
Except
stop
for they're
signs.
like all rotted
But-
off
Well,
and broken
speed
off and
limit
tipped
and
over
warning
wouldn't
sign.
stop.
Sounds like signage and public hearing. Is that right? When would you
Public
want to,
hearing to discuss a possible stop sign.
when would you like
Okay.
to have a public hearing?
Let's bring this back to the table here. Okay, great.
Public hearing.
Public hearing.
Public hearing.
Let's bring this
When would you like to do that?
sometime in June.
June?
We need to discuss it with DOT first.
Okay.
In the meantime, we can let them know where we are.
Yep. Let them know what we discussed here tonight, and then let them know we're going to have a public hearing. And
Because regardless of whether we decide on stop signs or not, they should have those warning signs there.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Especially if there's a changing quote unquote traffic pattern. They
Yep.
gotta know. And that's what we talked about when we talked with them before.
We got lots of intersections that we could put stop signs in. Where'd you stop? But say we're gonna do it, and you say, well, let's have a public hearing. If nobody objects to it, we'll just start putting stop signs in on every through road, and when there's an intersection, I mean, there's,
If you want to mess with traffic patterns, let's go back to the tree streets.
Well, those are our
No,
streets.
it's not.
Yes.
These are not
they
our streets. We don't have control over it,
Yes, they are.
unfortunately.
And we have control of this and we've done nothing.
Right.
We've had several hearings.
Amen to that one, Joe.
A lot.
What are you
Yes.
talking about?
Rock and roll now.
parking on the
Remember-
tree streets.
Listen,
Oh, Cedar.
hey, the speed bumps are out.
I know when
Not
you
just
said that-
Cedar.
When you said that, my mind went to
Not
the
just
Gem
Cedar.
Street.
They was talking about emergency vehicles and they're parked over here. And you can't get in the winter. You can't get that. Maybe we do one way,
Sidewalks.
sidewalks, whatever.
No sidewalks.
You know when the hell that
All
all
right.
started? I simply wanted us to stop people from parking on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Well,
we're moving
we
right
got enough
along.
stuff.
Gonna open this to the public online or here. Anybody have any questions or concerns with what's being discussed tonight? Or if you have your own concerns?
I have a concern. I think that we should either consistently run these fans this time of year or get those electrical air conditioning units put back in the windows. Because it's hot and
We have air
stuffy.
conditioning.
We have air conditioners. Why didn't you just
Got
say
the
it's
half-
hot?
the half
Because
splits.
I didn't realize there wasn't air, and they used to be down here.
I think
No,
Oh,
we got-
no,
we got the
okay.
mini splits.
Mini
thought you had the
splits.
mini splits.
Yeah, we do.
You don't want to run these fans until somebody cleans them.
Right.
The other thing is it stratifies the air, so the hot air is up there.
All
and
you
the
had
cool
to
air
do
is
is
down here.
mention something, Joe. We're almost
Turn them
done.
on.
I do have one other thing I just would like to ask. It was regarding what the board talked about in the very beginning about the cemetery. Whether you had voted, hadn't voted, what do you want to do
Just
with
gonna
the
ask
cemetery?
if there's a possibility. No decisions to go forward with it, just if he's amiable to allowing us to do it. The property owner to take over maintenance of it.
So how would you like that done? In the form of a letter? Let me just call him.
I do it in a letter.
Would you like done?
Either, whatever makes you comfortable. I'm happy with either.
I
Either.
think, knowing the history of it, I think a letter might be a good first way to go.
I was gonna say no.
I understand, but
From the board?
Tim's a schmoozer.
Sure.
I
From
won't
the
sign
board.
it, so you might as well call him.
Very good person.
well, there you go. There's another perspective.
Sure.
Okay, I'll
Whatever.
come up with a letter for the board.
Okay. All right. Again, I'm going to reach out to the online or Greg. Any questions for us? No? Online? Okay.
The time being,
Oh,
No, we're good. They lost their chance.
hearing none, then the time being 7:27, I make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91A:3, 2, A, B, and C, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplinary of such employee, investigation, or any charges against him or her, unless the employee is affected has a right to a public meeting to request that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. B, the hiring of any person as a public employee. And C, matters which discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board. Unless such person requests an open meeting, this exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy if based on an inability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
Second.
I hear a second. Roll call vote.
Aye. Jessamine, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Constantino, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the May 16th, 2024 minutes because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the board.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any new business to come before us?
Yes.
Yes.
One last thing.
Okay.
I just need to know, in terms of the evaluations, the board, I assume, will do mine, the chief's, Heather, and what about
Catherine.
Catherine and Pat?
You have it all written out on your thing, right?
Well, I had
thought it was a
different,
great
I had
idea.
different options. Did you want me? I was planning on evaluating Amy, Shane, Sue, possibly.
I would say Pat as well, because you're the only one in the building
Okay.
with her, at least at this point. Where it goes from there,
Okay.
we'll see, but
What was the,
For now.
date to unseal the minutes? Is that?
It was,
I think Catherine should do Pat and Pat Catherine.
And that's perfect. If
Catherine
you
needs-
ask me.
Catherine needs more to do. the next
who
meeting.
I think-
seconded it?
No, date to unseal the minutes.
Actually, I think that would be fair to me.
We
You have
didn't
no
give a date.
idea.
We said permanently.
you guys work it out amongst yourselves. But congratulations on your new job.
I'd like to just go ahead with what you have written in your report.
Whatever works.
It had an either or. So
So whatever works.
1 and 2, it is really depending upon because Pat's.
So you can evaluate me
Okay.
because you're in town hall,
All right, then I'll do it. Okay.
and then
I've heard that somewhere before.
All right. All right.
I have
Just
no
keep
problem
that in
with that.
mind.
Okay, so
I have no problem with that. I
Is
don't
it
care
my
what
turn?
it is. It's only an evaluation.
Is it Joe's turn?
is it Joe's turn?
Is there any other new business to come before us?
Joe has something.
I have this one thing.
Joe Jessamine,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That would be me.